cult. Here we go. We'll roll the music. What is up, Bryant? Thank you for joining me this week again.
Yeah,
can you hear
man.
me?
Fine. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. I hope everybody else is enjoying. Yeah, Batman, say Robin. I called it first.
What was that again? You were breaking up a little bit. I don't know. You were perfect before we went on there, and then it's damn connection sometimes, man. I've even been getting at Restream to the point where I've been sending my streams to Restream like, check this out. And they've been having to watch it and tell me what's going on with the stream, and they've been giving me hints to try and make things better. That's why they told me, they're like, what kind of mic you using? And I was like, I'm using a Blue Yeti mic, bro. Like, what mics are compatible with your software? And he was like, well, you got a good mic, so your mic like has everything that our software has, and so them trying to do the same job might be causing issues. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll give it a try. I haven't had complaints about me yet, so I'm happy there.
Well,
And then it was
all I
even to
was
the
saying was,
it got to the point they were even asking me like, what was your other person using? It seemed like they were on a cell phone. We could tell they were on a cell phone. Do you know if they were using Wi-Fi or their cell phone data? I was like, I don't know. I don't ask those questions. But they're looking. They were able to tell me what Raj was streaming on. I was like, well, okay, that's a little, you know, much. Oh, let's get the. We do not have the call-in link in the chat. There we go. Anybody, please feel free to call in, give thoughts. I also did. I don't know if you noticed it, but on Twitter, I posted a draft I did earlier, and I was, oh man, I at one point probably had half of the 7th round. No lie, dude. At one point, I probably had about half the 7th round, and I was able to trade up from our 3 last picks in the 3rd round, our 3 last picks in the 3rd round, to keeping essentially them. Well, keeping 2 of them and taking one of those thirds and turning it into a 2nd rounder, a mid-2nd rounder. I was able to use, like, I got pick 54. In fact, I think I moved up to 52 and then moved back to 54 because I was like, well, let's get some more capital because I used a lot of it to move up, and then turned around and moved back down. It kept on moving back down. So I don't know if you want to play with that at all, but wow.
everything's always fun to play around with. But yeah, once again, I want to say thanks. And I shouted it out first. I hope everybody else enjoys the tag team. I'm gonna call first. I'm Batman, and I feel like you're kind of like my Robin, even if it doesn't fit. It works for me. And it's always shotgun first, right? So whoever calls it out first, right? So no, I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, if you want to do like a mock draft, I'm sure.
My tights are the wrong color.
Looking like Aquaman right now.
No, I got red tights. Robin's got green tights. You know what I mean? I'm more like Spider-Man right now. like a plaid Spider-Man. My tights are pajama pants.
Wait, if I seen it right, and I do think I seen your Twitter thing. Did you take Jake Moody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody was asking
I think
about
they're
like,
going.
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I think they're going to work it out with Robbie, but that's your next best option right there.
I think so, but I don't think you can get him where we got him. He's the best in the draft as far as I know and as far as I've heard. So I could see him going as high as the fourth. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
look what happened with the Bills and Punt God last year. Even though he, obviously is a piece of crap and,
Yeah.
allegedly did some horrible things. They didn't have many holes in their game. And so with all their draft picks, they're like, screw it. We're going early to get Punt God because that is a leg that, I'm sorry, if you don't have much holes in your game, might as well improve, when you in special teams when you can make a big leap like that, because that, the talent that guy had and threw away was a lot. He very talented. But
Most definitely. Yeah. He really, really, phenomenal athletic. He's got all that, but yeah, sometimes stuff on the outside of the game too, and he made a bad decision, and that probably is going to kill the rest of his life. Definitely won't be playing football in the National Football Leagues.
I don't see him being able to play in any of the leagues. It's not like that's a misunderstanding. That was not any sort of a misunderstanding. That wasn't it was a lapse in judgment, but it was such a lapse in judgment that it's hard to ever be able to put you on any kind of a thing where people are going to pay to show up to, because you screwed up that bad. Not to say that you can't, lead the rest of your life, as a better person and never be that person ever again, and be an even better person than you were a bad person. You could do that too, but you're not.
No,
You're not.
that's the whole thing. I think you're really nailing it, and maybe that's the topic for the night. Like your morals and what you do outside of football really does matter when you try to put on those. People don't want to say you're a superhero, but you are. You're some little kid's hero, and they don't necessarily hear all the nasty outside what's going on. But when that affects you, and then you get into these legal things, and it necessarily, that doesn't put a good, badge on your chest. That puts a nasty stain on your cape. And I just gotta think, like the morals, and maybe social media really makes this world a lot smaller, and maybe it's focused on these players. So we're hearing all these nasty details where this stuff might have been swept under the rug at one point. Some of the really big things. Yeah, you're gonna hear about it in the paper, but this other stuff you're not going to hear about. It's going to be in the locker room. But because now we have Twitter and all this other stuff, we hear our information so much faster, and then we judge so much faster, and it's easier to text with your finger and respond and say an opinion that you didn't think twice on.
But also at the same time, like, bad is bad. You know what I mean? This isn't like, this isn't somebody, this isn't like somebody being misogynistic in the locker room. You know what I mean? This is totally different. You know what I mean? Like, like, do I like misogynists? People just being blatantly misogynist? No. Do I find a joke that could be partially misogynistic and this and that funny because it's a joke? Yeah, I got a sense of humor, okay? You know what I mean? As long as nobody is being, as long as the joke doesn't sound like it's a statement and it's pointed and it's supposed to hurt, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a joke because of all those things mentioned, you know what I mean? But if there's any aspect of a joke to it, I like, but I don't see how you can, like, they're totally different things. You can say, misogynistic comments, truthfully believe them, and overcome that in society. You know what I mean? You could say homophobic remarks, you know what I mean? And, depending on how bad they are, you can overcome them. Like, I just personally think when it comes to, what he was alleged to have doing, that's something I can't just, like, let you back in, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
and it's
most
not
definitely.
it's for everybody else to learn. You know what I mean? Like
But the whole
you're
thing
in the middle of learning
too,
your lesson.
the whole thing
It's
too,
so
though, is
everybody else.
it's happened to a lot of players. Being allegedly, accused of something and it being true or not being true. You having either being able to pay it off and get it cleared and put under the table, or wasn't true at all. And we don't know because we're not there. But there's been multiple times, and I might get killed here for saying it, but like we have like Kobe Bryant, we have Ben Roethlisberger. There's what Michael Jordan, I think it happened to. Um, Steve McNair, how he ended up going, Warren Sapp, all these people, who was Michael Irvin just recently. All these allegations come out, and we don't know if it's true or not. Uh, you know, um, and that's not really for us to judge. But when you hear about it, that blemishes the reputation of the league. That blemishes the reputation of that player, that franchise. And when you have players, who are supposed to be heroes to these kids that are growing up and saying, "Hey, I want to one day be a football player. I want to one day, be someone else who someone else is going to look up to." And you have players that shrug that off and they say, "Well, I'm just a player. I'm not anybody's hero." No, no, no. That is kind of what you are. You don't have to be a vocal hero, but you are a leader. You are, contributor to this team, and you need to have morals. You need to, for whatever period of time you are in this league, you need to walk a good line, because right now social media is too close, too sharp of an eye. We see everything.
Yeah. I also, how to put this? I think colleges have a big part in this too. Um, colleges, one of the big draws to a college, or what colleges try to accomplish, is to try and make these players, even when they come to the school, try and make them feel like there's something, right? So then when they do actually play on the team in the school, like they're famous there, like in the town and all around, and they're held up as heroes of the community. And nobody tells them they can't. When they do something wrong, it gets covered up. You know what I mean? For the most part, it gets covered up, washed, swept under the rug. And that just builds a foundation, an unhealthy foundation for the rest of that athlete's career and life, because
Yeah.
they go along doing whatever they want. No one ever checks them, says, "Hey, you can't do that." Then they get into the NFL. Now you can't do anything that is like that, because now nobody is covering up for you. In fact, they're looking. They're looking for things. You know what I mean? Well, in certain media outlets, they're looking for things. You know what I mean? Like a Grant Cohn would be looking for something. If the 49ers were trying to sweep Charles, and let's say Charles Omenihu, there was, more facts that came out, and it kind of was more obvious that he had put his hands on her, and this and that, and the 49ers were actively trying to cover it up. Do you think Grant Cohn would let them? No. You know what I mean? So it's different when you get to this league, and kind of think, like I said, colleges are feeding the bears. They say don't feed the bears. They're feeding the bears. Not supposed to feed the wildlife. Don't feed the wildlife. Don't feed the bears. Okay, it messes everything up.
When you said
And
that, all I could
I,
think of is Yogi Bear and Boo Boo and picnic basket.
yep.
Yep. Don't be leaving your picnic baskets out there. So most definitely.
You remember that cartoon, the Disney cartoon with the bears, and it was doing that dance, and then it would pick up the trash and put it in the sack, and then dun, 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 and pick up the trash with the stick. And but I don't know. It was one of my favorite Disney cartoons from back in the day. And when Disney Plus came around, I went to try and find it for my daughter, and I couldn't find the one. And I'm kind of like upset. I'm trying to find it because I think she would totally dig that. Like she's almost like a carbon copy of me. So
Well, for you to
I got
pop
all
that
these
out
things.
and say that real quick, I got a flashback real quick, and I let you know I'm like a tailspin guy, rescue
Tailspin,
ranger guy,
Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous. I love it.
I
So
have
that's my era. Yep.
I have a tattoo of Dale from Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. You know, with the red Hawaiian shirt on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got him tattooed on my leg,
Oh
along with
wow.
Slowpoke Rodriguez. Slowpoke. Everybody's like, is that Speedy Gonzalez? I said, no, that's Slowpoke Rodriguez. Say why? And I go, because I'm not fast and I'm more of a drunk. Not really much anymore. Last time I had a beer was when Trey Lance snapped his ankle. I was like, oh, we getting drunk now.
Well,
Basket number 3000.
yeah,
DuckTales. Woo.
yep. DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck, yep. Launchpad
Yep.
McQuack, yep. Love it. Love it.
Remember the gummy bears?
That's what I was going to ask you, was if that was the dance, because I
Nope.
vaguely remembered them. Wasn't sure, but
The gummy bears, they drink the juice and they bounce around on their bum and then they get the strength to be able to do stuff. But they would always never pack enough juice, and then somebody would have to go back and get the juice. Like, bro, just
we can't have too much juice. Then they just say you're juicing it all the time. I think he might have froze. Might have froze. Ryan, are we still here? I think we're still here. So everybody, until Ryan comes back, I'm going to keep talking. I see that Steve made it. Thank you, Steve, for showing up. You get an opportunity, if you get your Wi-Fi corrected and your tablet corrected, we'll be able to go from there. Let me see what's going on. I think we might have fallen out. Hopefully not.
it's telling me that one of our streams is having issues.
Yeah. So I'm still here, and I got my little phone right here, so I was seeing that you're still there or not. And then I heard you talking.
Oh yeah,
so
we're
still
here.
here.
I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah, we're both back. So.
Oh, we both were gone. Oh, hey, we're having fun.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. We're gonna keep it real tonight.
Keeping it rizzity rizzle. So instead of cartoon, it's back to the football talk. They had the locker room ratings come out. It's nice to know that half of our division is crap, and the other one team that isn't necessarily crap is only, 50% is like mid of the pack. So seems like we're up on top of things. It is alarming that we don't have enough tubs, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's what I heard too. And they're not big enough. They want them to be bigger.
So that might be that they're trying to submerge themselves all the way, and they might have smaller ones that are more made for like throwing your leg in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where they can't. Maybe they just need a little bit bigger so they can like actually get underneath. But
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the episode with George Kittle, and I think it was Kevin Hart. They got in the ice bath. They do this ice bath. Yeah, that was awesome, and I think that's what they need. It's a little bit bigger of one.
And this is the thing too. If you did it right for games and stuff like that, when people, come after the game, you really need, this, to soak. They can just have portable ones. You don't have to have the big, heavy ones that plug in and are piped in there. Like, you can literally have a tub with ice, and just have a hose. You know what I mean? It's not that bad, and you just need to stop the swelling, and that's all that's gonna do. It's nice to have the ones that have the fan in them that circulate the water, because that really gets you really quick. You know what I mean? But if somebody's not that banged up and you're just trying to make yourself feel better, You know what I mean? For the next couple of days. Yeah, just go get in one of the tubs that just got ice in it. You know what I mean? Just go jump in there. You'll feel fine. It won't be moving. It won't be as cold, but it will get your body chilled down and stop the swelling
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
or
like
reduce it at least.
there's ways, like if you want a bigger contract, well, then we gotta like we gotta shave a little bit off here. So if we're just using big I don't know, like not water coolers or anything like that, not a ice chest, but basically that's what they need is just a couple bigger ice chests to put some ice in it and let people put their feet in it. If that makes everybody a little bit richer, at the
So,
end of the day,
like the
like you're saying,
stuff
it
that they're
doesn't have to be
using,
plugged in.
like on the Old Spice, cold as balls.
Yeah,
I believe that's troughs for livestock almost.
yeah,
It's a
that's what
metal
yeah,
trough,
something.
and they go for about $200 a pop. One of them troughs. So you know what I mean? Like if you got 48 guys suiting up, let's say it's $300 a pop. There's some money there, but
Yeah,
it's not that much.
but how many tickets did you sell to? I mean, like for the nosebleed sections, a couple $200 tickets should take care of a couple, baths for people. So
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah,
to me, it's the money is worth it exponentially going forward. When you're
yeah,
talking about treatment and it's almost like
it's an investment.
it's well, like certain
I mean,
injuries, certain injuries can either get worse or cause other injuries. So like if my foot's hurt and I'm limping, that can cause my knee to start hurting. So if I ice down my foot before I start limping to the point where it starts hurting my knee, that's why some people they have a foot injury and then their knee starts to hurt and then their hip starts to hurt because it's all going out of whack because of how they're compensating to not walk on their foot a certain way or their gait. That's your gait is what your walk path pattern is like essentially how you walk. That's called a gait. I found, bro, check this out. So with kids, don't let them walk real quick. You want them to crawl. The reason being is crawling builds the muscles. So if they find how to walk real quick, they're not going to get the right muscles to walk or to walk correctly. So
yeah,
therefore, they'll walk differently. I went to a lady's house and installed a dishwasher, and her 13-year-old son was going to physical rehab to crawl because they were teaching him how to walk the right way because he had always walked little his gait was always funky because since a kid he was always compensating for the strength he didn't have. So that's how his gait became his gait. Is it was started with compensating for strength that he didn't have, and then that just became how he walked, which isn't good for his body. So then he had to go learn how to crawl on the floor and get all those muscles in line to then start. Yeah, weird stuff.
well, check this out. My daughter, right, when she was first born, she started walking. She was probably a pretty quick walker. She started walking around tippy toeing everywhere. She'd tippy toe, and we noticed it. But it wasn't like super bad, but she'd stand up on her tippy toes and walk. Like she had high heels on or something. And
Hmm.
I started telling my boss lady at work, and she told me the same thing. That she does it. She walks around tippy toe, and I'm like, all right. And like I noticed it after she said it. She says it doesn't, bother her or anything like that. She walks fine. And I didn't see a weird walk to her. But after like watching her feet, she doesn't put her heel down. And I have flat feet. I don't have a very big arch. I don't have plantar fasciitis or anything like that. I just have flat feet, and that's probably why I'm not a kicker in the NFL because I don't have a very big arch. It's like I don't think that has anything to really do to make you a big kicker or not. But the way my feet are, it's not. I'm not very comfortable. Like I don't walk goofy or anything, but I have to wear fun shoes because the way my feet are. So with that, um, he have a. Wow, I went into a true bit and then I stopped thinking what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I got to go back for a second. With her tippy toes,
You're good.
sorry,
I'm a stoner.
her her tippy toes, right? We went to the Shriners because when I took her to her pediatrician said, "Oh no, the way she's walking is a little alarming. She could have really tight tendons, and she might need like an Achilles surgery or something." And that really like kind of scared me and my wife. So we drove her up to Sacramento to the Shriners hospital where they wanted us to take her to, and they took a look at her and they're like, "No, she's fine. Bring her back in a year." And if it's gotten worse, or significant, she'll probably grow out of it, or but they'll look at her ankles again, and they said no, she's fine. And then we took her back up a year later, and she really wasn't tippy toeing around anymore. Maybe I got her different sneakers or something. And she does have an art, so her feet are a little different than mine too. But I noticed that, and after knowing my daughter does it, my boss lady did it, I started like paying attention. And some people walk around on their tippy toes. I don't know if that makes them faster or just what it is, but definitely make you taller.
I I think it's just some people it's how they've decided they were gonna walk. You know what I mean? That's their gait. You know what I mean? Um, it is what it is. I don't know. Like at times, like I would walk where I'd pound my heel into the ground. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to feel the vibration. You know what I mean? Big guy. You know what I mean? Like let me, doom, doom, doom.
Yeah.
And after that, also like I found I went when I was in school in California. I went to like a retreat to learn about the Native American things that they did. Um, it's funny now that I think about it. I don't remember one Native American person being like the instructor or anything. Which I'm like, that's just like finding is just ridiculous now that I'm thinking about it because I can't remember a single Native American person there. I think they were all white people talking about, but they were like, this is how the natives walk. They roll their foot. They roll their foot from the outside to the inside, and that's how they could walk really quietly. And I found after I learned that, I started walking like that for some reason. To the point where like sometimes like I can run up on somebody and they can't hear me because I'm not making a lot of sound because I'm like rolling my foot as I'm running just enough, you know what I mean, that I can be up on them real quick. But yeah, it's just something they taught. That's how you. Oh, that's also how you walk barefooted without like hurting your feet. Because if you got anything spiky, you just don't put all your pressure down. Instead of stepping down flat like that, you kind of curve it in. So if you feel anything spiky, you just pick your foot back up. But yeah, the gate.
So
Heard
go
a
ahead.
football player say, if your feet are like a duck, if your feet are like a duck, he don't want to. My feet are kind of like a duck. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always had good feet, but I think maybe kicking the football and trying, in high school and stuff like that. I think maybe it messed with my toe a little bit. And, so I don't, I'm not really I didn't want to keep going on it. I didn't want to keep, going to the point where, I need surgery or something, and maybe, there's a difference in way you kick. You can kick with the top of your foot compared to kicking with your toes, and I learned how to do that when I punted, but when I kicked field goals, I'd kick with my toes, and that really messed with me. I got some long toes. I tell people they're like toes that'll reach out and grab you. So
I got a wide foot.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like I got I got like a little sandbar on the side that you can almost stick another toe on. You know what I mean? Like it's it's I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's
yeah, yeah.
like in my hand it was like that. Like it's almost like that. My foot, the toes like that, and then you got a little bit of extra right there. And it's just like I don't know. It's hard to knock me off from the side. I remember playing football one time, and I'm left tackle. Um, Somebody let somebody through the other side of the line. Quarterback gets stripped. I'm running across the field because it happened on the other side, obviously on the other side of me. And they're running down the field, to the end zone that way. So I'm having to cut across the field. As I'm doing that, somebody else cuts across the field. I think it was like a safety or somebody, or maybe it could have been a linebacker. But they tried to come in and knock me off. And I just dropped my shoulder real quick, and they went flying off of me and tumbled. And I pulled up in the end zone, you know what I mean, because I wasn't able to get there. And the ref's already called the touchdown, right? But the ref now, which I ended up working with later, I actually ended up working at Budweiser with this guy, and also reffing with this guy. He's talking to the other ref, and he's like, "Hey, did you see number 76? Did you see number 76?" That was my number, and he was talking about like, "Yeah, you saw the touch up? Did you see that guy tried to hit him, and that guy went flying?" It was like, yeah. Oh snap! We got Loathe the Truth in the house. Yeah, all the DBs look good at the combine today. Yeah, I heard that. What we got, a 4.29 for a 40. I don't personally think that's gonna those ever equate into the NFL. It's as far as the fast 40s go, like some of the people who were clocked, like who was it? Hufunga was clocked with one of the fastest times, and he was one of the slowest 40 times. So in game, real time, Hufunga was clocked with one of the fastest times, but yet in the combine, he was one of the slowest motherfuckers. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But who
Who was
knows?
that guy? Who was that guy? It was a coach that just came out, and I just read it. I read it too fast. I don't remember his name. He just came out and said, "Well, you watch tape. You don't watch people in pajamas." I was like, "Oh,
That's the Lions head coach.
yeah,
And what
he's
he was,
right, man. He's right."
yeah. Now look, there's some things you can. It's nice to see him run the routes and catch all those balls back to back. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool to see that, can you do all this stuff back to back? I think what a lot of things they were talking about with the quarterbacks was the interviews is really what was really like the interviews is really what was making the quarterbacks jump so far ahead, as they were saying, is because they were they bring the quarterback in the room and they go, "Here's this formation. What do you see?" Or they'll go, "Here's this play where you messed up. How do it differently?" Or what do you remember? Or yeah, so it seems like the interviews are even essentially more important than the actual on field stuff.
Yeah,
Sideline spiel is more important. Yeah, I for like look, why are offensive tackles running a 40, right? Like I got into an argument with Randon Commando. Um because I was like, why are the 49ers, or why are the offensive linemen even doing a 40? I said, if anything, 10-yard. Really, I only want to know how fast you got after 3 steps. That's all I really care about, is how fast you can get to in 3 steps. Um, but yeah,
yeah. I mean, like you want to see how fast maybe they can get out in like 20 yards, or something like that, But like the 40-yard dash, I mean, like, I mean, really, are they going to be doing that in practice and stuff like that? I don't see that happening. I don't see them doing that. I like you say a couple of steps. Let's see how fast they can get up and get down. Like maybe like isolate them to maybe like certain things, like maybe a vertical jump or something like that, but not There's
I
some
don't mind
things,
vertical jump,
I
but
mean, because like they got to get their hands up, sometimes, or they got to, but it's an offensive lineman, so maybe that's only for like defensive linemen or something. I mean, there's just some things that I'd like to see him be able to. pass and not pass but block and run. Like maybe call the
So
cadence a couple times, and not see him jump.
the
I don't know.
the run block and all that stuff, that's for the like the Senior Bowl and stuff like that. Those are for those type of games, which I think we should have more of.
Yeah,
We were talking about getting rid of the combine, and maybe the combine should just be for interviews. Interviews, um, and
have a couple people
anybody.
run. Have a couple people run, but not every player needs to run.
Well,
Like do you need to see a 40 time from a punter?
well, it seems like a lot of people have like when quarterbacks have their quarterback days or whatever, or the like the college will have all their good players come out and throw to the good players and whatnot. So why don't we just everybody that's not going to have like a pro day come to the combine, do stuff in front of the scouts that they feel they need to get done in front of scouts. You know what I mean? Put whatever you need to on tape. You can have a certain kind of and a list of what you want them to do, but it doesn't have to be everything they got going on now. Like the 40, you know what I mean? Like, do you need a 40? Like, go over there and get a 10-yard split. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to have what was somebody telling me? These guys are just sitting here for 3 days, tired and hungry, essentially, trying to get through all this interviews, going to do these tasks and whatnot. It it just doesn't seem like a good atmosphere. Or good, not in a good atmosphere, but a good. If people are just practicing to run a 40, how is that helping them? They're stopping from learning how to be a better football player just to learn how to run a 40 better. That doesn't make sense. Let's get away from that. Let's just keep them being a good football player the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if me and you had discussed this. I know I discussed this with a couple other good friends of ours, and I think we should make like an A league, a minor league football team for the NFL. And when these guys come out of college, like right now, they should get signed to their own little farm team. And not necessarily it means that they're going to go to any team affiliated. There's not going to be like a mini 49er farm team. This is like the NFL's farm team. This is just my thoughts. And then you go ahead and like have these guys playing during this time before the draft and stuff. They can have like a very short mini, like an 8-game season or a 6-game season, something like that. And they can be on different teams than what their colleges are on. Maybe somehow with their scholastics, their scholastics and stuff like that going on. I know these guys got practice with each other and stuff like that. But what I'm talking about is having somebody other than, we'll just throw out, NFL team names right now. I want to see somebody besides Jimmy Garoppolo throw into Brandon Ayuk. I want to see, somebody like Peyton Manning, throw into somebody, different, just that's, like the mentality. So you got these colleges and them going into maybe a mini farm team. Maybe that stops them from being in college at that point because now they're hired to be on this farm team, like not an arena football or a flag football team, but maybe just something that's not necessarily the NFL. And this is where we can see some of these players, like really get out there and show a little bit of what they have, where it's not going to be so crucial on them or where they have to be like all out and this is my final career. They're going to get paid. They'll get paid a league minimum. So, if you want to, ball out and you want to dominate in the farm team, okay, but it's not really going to do anything for you, right? What this is for you is to get you football ready. So we don't have, issues where people need more reps and stuff like that. Either that, or I think we need to go to more practices. And I think we need to go to more preseason games. And I think we need to go to a bigger roster. So you can have players on the team that are trying for the position, multiple positions. There's maybe more quarterback positions. And I think one, it's not going to make the team softer or anything like that. But if you have 4 quarterbacks that you're going to be carrying on a team because your roster space allows it, then if you do have an injury, you have that opportunity to bring in another quarterback. Like baseball, how many pitchers do they have? And that's just like, to me, so it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't understand, and I know, other people could explain it better, but for me, I don't believe we should really have a salary cap. I believe, you should get paid maybe a bare minimum or a league minimum. Or there was another good point that other people have brought this up. Maybe quarterbacks shouldn't be counted under the salary cap.
Yep, I've said that too. I also think that running backs on their rookie deal, there should be a sliding pay scale. So if you're coming out and you're the team's workhorse,
Yeah.
like Najee the other year, this or that, like they have to like sliding scale pay you. And maybe like it doesn't count against the cap because they obviously weren't expecting, to have to pay this and that. They have got the contract, this and that. It's supposed to be a rookie contract. I get that, right? We could do something like that, but I think it would be better if teams would just pay the running backs when they were good. Because if they're fizzling out in 5-6 years and they're under a rookie contract and doing great for 4 of those years, and then they get, a 5-year contract for oogles of millions of dollars, just a shit ton of money, and then they can only really do any good, for 2 of those years. Like, look at Ezekiel. Look at Zeke, prime example. Zeke was a workhorse in his rookie contract. After he signed that big contract, he was good for about a year and then just crap. And I don't know if it's necessarily his fault. Man's done. He was the workhorse. You know what I'm saying? Like his legs might be tired. I'm not, looking down on the man, but I think it's better for everybody involved if you just pay them when they're good when it comes to the running backs.
I don't think it should necessarily go off of like stats, but that's really the only thing we can really hold up to, right? I mean, how do you measure?
Well,
you blocked really good, so we won the game because you blocked, but you didn't catch that touchdown or what? You know what I mean? So like we have to figure out a way to be able to justify.
If he's taken half the snaps,
on
average half the snaps throughout his rookie season, and you know what I mean, like, and it could be like if you're taking half the snaps, boom, you need a pay raise. Now, if you're doing half the snaps and your average this yards per carry, then you need to have a multiplier added on to that. You know what I mean? Because obviously you're an upper echelon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're doing really good, so you need to be paid for that. You know what I mean? And that might be another way to get players start being running backs again.
Yeah, most definitely. Because there's got to be a way to be able to get the career out of them longer and still be, or to justify them getting the beating and everything that they're getting, because it's like right now they're trying to eliminate the running back position and the fullback position because of the way the league is going. They're going pass, and that's great stuff like that. But if you don't have somebody who's running the ball or blocking, which both running backs and fullbacks do, and there's other players that can do that too. But when you don't have that and you're just letting them get beat up for like 1 or 2 seasons, I agree. There should be like some way we could like either give them incentives or justify, maybe like not necessarily by stats, but if you're getting so many of the reps, or we can clearly see you being on the field is helping us win. We need to like give you a major roster bonus or something like that. If you get 1,000 yards in your first 2 seasons, your deal as a running back, your contract should be different than a 4 to 5 year vet or something like that, or a rookie deal contract. That's
and I'm not trying to get more time out of him, because I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's any way you can really do that by paying them this or that. I don't think that's a thing. But I think it's better for all parties involved to just pay them while they're good. And then, you know what I mean? Like, because you got them for their rookie contract. If they ball out for their first 4 years of their rookie contract, okay, that's great. You sign them, a 2-year deal for a good deal, right? And then, they can, if they fall off, okay, well, you only got a 2-year deal at this point. They've already made a shit ton of money. You know what I mean? They know that it's designed to go this way, and that they're probably not going to get much on the next contract. You know what I mean? Because of how things go. There's a chance they could, who knows? You know what I mean? You could, be a badass, just run it through things and get another bag. You know what I mean? And that's fine. It's there. But it's set up more because not a lot of running backs do well after they get their first big bag. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because this or that. It's just they don't have it in the legs anymore.
I agree, and I think they are maybe taking advantage of it a little bit too much,
Yes.
because the team knows that they're a rookie and they don't have to necessarily pay them that much. And then if they do good, then it's beneficial to everybody. We won the lottery that year, but next year if they don't do well, then we're just going to draft another in the third round. And so what? We'll draft another running back next year in the third round because they're not putting the value at that position maybe deserves. I remember like Emmitt Smith, Garrison Hurst. There was players like the only thing that ever really stopped them from dominating was an injury. When they were on the field, they were a bell cow. You knew they were getting the ball, almost every play, and you knew it was going to be a long game, but it was their game to lose. And we don't have the same because now they're passing. They want to just make the defense is different. Everything's is changing, Ryan, and I don't know if it's changing for the better.
Yeah. I how they're trying to just make everything for the offense is just annoying. It it's not it's not entertaining when there's no defense. You know what I mean? Like because anybody that's watched football ever and knows what good defense is just calling out why isn't this like this? And I think there's going to be a time where you're going to see people just get frustrated, like talented defensive players just get frustrated. And I think like what you're seeing with the running backs is, as far as people's, not wanting to be running backs anymore because it's not necessarily worth any money and it's very tough is going to happen with the defense. You know what I mean? The cornerbacks, the defensive ends, they're gonna find a way to be something else. Maybe not the defensive ends. Like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
kind of rare breed.
defensive ends like the quarterback, on the defense, so they're gonna get it paid. But the cornerbacks, I don't see people
No,
want to be quarterbacks, corners, moving forward because
yeah,
why are you gonna want to just run, let somebody run by you? You can't hit them, you can't stop them. You touch them, you're gonna get a flag. Now the whole thing, like now the mentality of like I'd really like to see somebody like Deion Sanders play nowadays, because he didn't really tackle and he didn't really do all that. Maybe he did a little bit of the bump and run, but he was that guy that would just go after the ball. He almost like ran the route for the wide receiver.
yeah,
So I mean, like maybe that's what we need is just another wide receiver on everybody who's wide receiver is going to be either a corner or a wide receiver, and it's like that's how you're going to get drafted. It's until we see you on our team, you're either going to be wide receiver or corner. Kind of like how you played in high school. The coach is like, oh no, you looked really good, but we're going to put you over here.
yeah. Remember when Dion played on offense? He sucked.
He used to play back
Um,
and forth right there. Yeah.
I know. He wasn't necessarily good.
Now he did it for
I
like
thought it would be.
mostly. That was
Yeah,
like
he couldn't really get good separation, which is which isn't necessarily like a shocker because that's totally not what he does as a cornerback. You know what I mean? Like his whole thing is trying to be stuck to you like glue. So it's I get that. So it might have been hard. And there's a difference between running the route for somebody and somebody else running the route for you. You know what I mean? Like, um,
good times.
yeah,
Good times. Yeah.
good times.
So this evening before I came on, I was trying to get to the bank, and hit the ATM up real quick, and I had my daughter Lily with me, and we were like, oh man, let's grab something before the show comes on, So Dad, I'm not cooking, and everything, and we just can have something quick, right? So we shoot up to KFC real quick, and we get there and we asked them if they had tenders, and no tenders, so we were gonna get chicken, and then we said, hey, do you guys got French fries? No French fries, so we just canceled the order and we moved on, right? So then my girl's like, hey, let's go to In out because that's one of my favorite spots. And she's like, you could just run in, Dad. So I get all the way down there, and we have 2 In-N-Outs now in Stockton. We get up there, and I park, and I get ready to walk into the store, and it's crowded. I'm like, no, you can't do that. So shout out to Bashar, but we settled for a 7-Eleven pizza.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, like, it was just quick, and I'll make something after the show, but he said at one time that 7-Eleven pizza is like the worst pizza, and it's right down the street from my house, so I can't knock it.
7-Eleven pizza is bad, but
I agree.
it has a place when you really hungry and you getting some gas and you're like, I'm not stopping anywhere. Like, yeah, like I remember one time I was streaming and I had to get gas and I had to get my my Zins. I don't smoke anymore. I use the little tobaccoless pouches. I don't know if you've seen them, the Zins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, I go to get those, and I was like, put in a pizza. How long they take? A minute. Okay, put in a minute. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, oh man, we gotta do it. And then when I did it, I was there thinking. I heard him say it in the background because if you guys know Bar, he loves pizza, and one day we're gonna get one and have one together. Yep.
Used to smoke cigarettes. Then I was vaping, and it's weird. Like I would, I was having issues. I would drink, and then I'd have some cigarettes when I drink and whatnot, and then like I'd finish my pack of cigarettes. But as I was having a cigarette, like I get done with one of them, and I want to get the taste out of my mouth by putting one of these things in there. And then finally, I was like, dude, I just got to stop with the cigarettes. There's no need. And then I found myself with the little vape. And I was vaping with one of these things in, and I was like, bro, I just find myself sucking down this vape. You know what I mean? With a patch in or not, or a patch in with a packet in or not. And finally, I was like, screw it. I just gotta get rid of the vape too, and then just do with this. And I went from 6 mil. Now I'm at 3 milligrams. I'm trying to get to 0. They don't have a 0 milligram one, so I'm just gonna get cough drops and see if that'll work. But I'm close.
Yeah.
Close.
Yep. I'm not a cigarette guy. I was never cool enough. It just wasn't my thing. I have a beer over there every once in a while. I have a beer right now. But no, and whatever someone wants to do, that's fine. As long as you can control your habits and you can take care of what you need to take care of. I'm not judging anybody. I've seen this list of tobacco. I've seen the vapes and stuff like that. I used to be a cashier at a gas station, so I sell a lot of products, and it's interesting because you learn a lot about stuff. Like there's just so many different cigarettes out there now, and they got different ways. The vape and stuff like that, that's new, and some people say it's better, some people say it's not. It's what you like. Again, like not everybody's gonna, some people like soda, some people like orange juice. Some people like orange juice with vodka.
Water,
Some
milk,
people
or
like
beer. Water, milk, or beer.
Yep. So, but no, man, we had a really good time, and we got back to the house, and everybody's happy right now. So,
Good.
Started streaming with you, and it's good Friday, real good Friday night. We got a lot of things to look forward to. So, what's your real thoughts, man, on Lynch? Do you think he's talking out both sides of his mouth, or do you think he's just being Lynch? And what I mean by just being Lynch, and he always seems to say like the best thing, right? Or like the non-aggressive, or like the safe. He's always safe with what he says when it comes to like decisions this franchise makes. I truly think the guy could be president one day. He's got it in him.
I think he could be. I don't think he would ever want that.
Nah.
Like the person you want to have president is the guy who never wants to be president, who's smart enough to know that he never wants to be president, essentially. Somebody wants to be president, it's normally because they got alternative motives, and it's not to better us, it's to better themselves. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want a president who will run, reluctantly, like like I didn't want to do this, but you made me. You know what I'm saying? That's the person you want to do it because they're the ones that are actually there to do the job right. You know what I mean? And I think he would be. Yeah, I think he could do the job. I think he could. I think somebody like him could bring people together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because he's, you know, I personally think he's probably more on the more conservative side with his faith and all this stuff. But I think at the
yeah,
same time, that doesn't mean anything because I'm sure he's also common sense about things. And he also cares. And he's also, open minded enough to see how certain things could be better if you sit him down and show him things. So I think he would be great for things like he's really good at, hey, let's forget about all the dumb stuff. Let's just get down to brass tacks. It's not as complicated as you think it is. You just need to stop concentrating on this and just understand it's this right here. You know what I mean? Like I could see him being effective, but I don't think he'd ever do it in a million years.
Hey, Steve-O, if you want to try to come on with your tablet, you got to click the link, and then yeah, I would recommend turning down your YouTube volume before you come in, and then just follow the instructions. There's gonna be like a couple of bubbles, icons down below the screen. It's gonna have like a camera, a microphone, and just work it from there. And if you come on, we'll let you know as soon as we hear your voice. Everything's working out. I know you wanted to test it out, so if you are brave and you want to come on, I know you just said Mitch Wisnowski's birthday, I think, is today. I'll double check that, but that's awesome. He is one of my favorite players.
Also, as far as echo, they have an echo cancellation, but sometimes if you're on like a phone or a tablet and an echo starts, it's usually just because the volume is up too high, and what it's just doing is it's hearing its own speaker through the microphone. But usually, if you have it down low enough, it will cancel itself out. Usually.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like if you're streaming, if you're like watching YouTube and then you go into the StreamYard, sometimes it's best to cancel out your YouTube because sometimes they'll echo back into the feed. But either way, we'd love to have you. Steve, he's everywhere. He goes everywhere. So
It's funny. I usually mute the YouTube and then I go into the other thing. So I keep my stream on the channel and then
yeah,
I
I hear
go
you.
into the. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll call into Rombo at nighttime, and I'll have it like that, where my voice will be paused on YouTube or down really low, and then I'll have the phone on because he does a phone call in where it's not through StreamYard or Restream, and I got to talk to him how he does that. I don't know if that you got to pay for that special or what, but he's got like a enter your password, and I don't know how many people can come into his because he's always says the chat is full, so.
You know, Beto, excuse me, Beto used to use a phone number type thing too. So you might be able to also ask Beto what he used to do. Because he used to have a call-in thing also, kind of like that, where he wouldn't have people live. I'm sure, like a lot of people don't like to do call-in shows like this after what happened to Jesse. Like if you
Yeah.
notice, like Jesse, like I called on Jesse's show the other night, like last week. He didn't even bring me on, and I was sitting here same way I'm here, got my thing going. He was even like, "Nice to see you." I was like, "Yeah, nice to see you too, bro." You know what I mean? Like we could both see each other, but you guys couldn't see us. I could see him, he could see me, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was, and he knows I'm not gonna do anything weird. Like I was there in the stream when it happened.
I was there too, dude. I remember I was right there. I was one of Jesse's first subs.
I think I was like the second caller after that, or something like second or third caller after that.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
whoa.
either called that night or I called the night after that, or it was gone before. Maybe it was before that.
You didn't call the night. You didn't call the night after that because it
No,
was
it
the
was
channel was shut down that night.
yeah, it was
It was
maybe the
bullshit.
first episode or second episode he had like a call-in show like that because I came on and got to talk to him. It was really neat. And then I seen the episode. I think it was that night, dude. I think I called in on that night. If I remember right, but I could be wrong. But no, you're right. His channel got shut down. It was horrible. And a lot of people after that, they started doing this like, I can't talk. I gotta have a bubble. Rob Shue started doing it. And then now if you're part of some people's memberships and stuff like that, their Patreon or something like that, they'll let you come in with your voice and your face and stuff. So that's cool. But like Jason Aponte, he did that. So I became a member of his show. A lot of people like that. They're just trying to be like safe. I mean, when you got somebody that comes in, they can just tear up your channel that quick. And then I was on a show with Wolf, and I don't know who did it. I don't know how it happened, but I understood somebody said something to someone in the Discord and said Wolf's channel was live. So then there was a bunch of weird callers that night. Me and him were, like taking calls and listening to people, and then a bunch of people were dropping the N-word. Bunch of people.
Oh,
And, like it just
that's
got
bull crap, dude.
Yeah, and he was dropping the people off the show as fast as he could, but yeah.
So
people just being nasty.
the thing is you got to go in the back. You got to end the show, and you got to go in and you got to edit that part out. And that's what's really like. That's what happened with Jesse. He let it just sit too long. What up, David McNiner?
Yeah,
he let it sit too long. Right? He let it sit too long, and I'm guessing whoever did it went back and reported it enough by the time he got off stream and was editing that part out. Like he was editing it out, and his channel got taken.
Yeah, he probably should have just that's just horrible. You can't say what you should do hindsight after it. It's like, but we can all learn from it. Jesse definitely taught us.
If you do, what is it called? If you get the Creator Studio, it will ask you from time to time to do a survey. And on the survey, I just totally I told him the truth. And if you feel that way, you could do it too. Hello.
Hi. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know much about football. Because, anytime I've heard of it, it's mostly been kids at my school talking about the Bengals. And, they're really, they make it really gay. They make it sound really gay.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. What's up, Bashar?
Yeah, what up, Bashar? No, I'm good. You don't need to finish, bruh.
No, that's not the vibes that we have on a Friday night like that.
Unfortunately, your father finished, and that's the problem.
Well, if you got an actual question, you can ask it in the chat. It's not a...
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. No, we have good vibes because, it's Friday night. We're here to talk football, say some cool jokes, and hopefully everybody gets a little bit of an entertainment out of it. You like the vibes, don't but we don't need negative, and we don't want to be talking about, gay or retarded or, that's not where we're, no. And if you don't like football, you don't like football. It's fun. You can like it whatever you like.
Oh, he was just trying to be obscene. I think he was about ready to turn on the screen. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll come back in the chat and hop in under a new banner. So
yeah, tsunami now maybe.
We'll wait for that. We'll wait.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You had a question. Yeah, we'll put the question in the chat, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody could see the question there.
Even I got Snickers. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, couple more days and we'll have free agency, and everything should start getting really excited really quickly, really, really quickly. And I know everybody's making this point. Whatever quarterback the Niners bring in, that's going to be awesome. If they bring in a vet and he's sound capable, yeah. And let's see. I think I might have to reload the page. What's it saying? Am I still here, Ryan?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. I had a flash on my screen, so I was wondering.
Steve-O's got Snickers.
No, I don't want to splurge on a quarterback, but I want to bring in a quarterback that is confident, and we need
What's
somebody
your
who
price
wants
range?
to win. How much am I allowed to spend?
I'm asking you, what's your price range?
Well, see, like I wouldn't put a price on it, because if we win a Super Bowl this year, then that's what it's worth to me. If they went and got a quarterback like Carr and we could work it, and I'm not saying he's our option, but I'm just saying if they could bring in a quarterback like Carr or a quarterback like Rodgers or whatever, right? And even if they're not the starter, but they're on their team and they come in, and we win the Super Bowl.
Hold on.
I wouldn't put a price on
if you're giving up the capital that you have to give up for Brett Favre, or not Brett Favre, but Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Then he better be starting. Okay, like we're not doing Lance 2.0 where we give up 3 first-round draft picks and then decide to sit him and let him be injured for 3 years.
So that's what
I mean?
One thing that they said too, like Aaron Rodgers, they said we could possibly trade him. Somebody threw it out there and said we could trade Lance to Green Bay. I'm not necessarily for that, but if they did say that, they said we'd have to entertain another player because Lance isn't equal to Aaron Rodgers. So would that be another player or another draft pick? I wouldn't put a price on what it would cost, but I would like to see at least another sound quarterback that comes in, because I don't see Purdy playing this season. If he's as bad as everybody thinks it is, and if he does have to have Tommy John.
This is like what I'm talking about. Bashar, bruh. Love you. We gotta think about this one though, because like you're gonna be a number
thing.
3.
That's my thoughts too. Like why would you want to even tell somebody who's going to come into this team? Sorry, Ryan, but why would you want to say, "Hey, you can't compete for the starting position. You got to be the backup." That's
so.
You got to give everybody that opportunity.
So when did our starting quarterback go out last year? Week 2?
Yeah.
Week 3? Yeah. Okay. So when is Brock Purdy going to be back? We don't even know. And as it seems right now, he won't be back for week 1. So right now, you're telling me that they're going to be worried about being a quarterback 3? They don't even know if they might not be the starting quarterback by week 2. You know what I mean? Like, I understand your thing is strengthening the line, but I think the 49ers think they're doing that. And we can't talk them out of it.
No, whatever we want to do, they're not going to do what we wanted to do. But I agree. Yeah, strengthening the line. Like if you had a good line like Dallas.
But how is strengthening the line? How is strengthening the line going to stop Kyle from calling plays the way he does in certain situations? You know what I mean? Like if Reddick's just pinning his ears and going upfield, well then maybe we shouldn't, hope that Reddick's gonna, bite on the run. You know what I mean? Like that's things we can't stop. And if you're gonna put all the money into the line and not back up your quarterback room, you know what I mean? When we went through how many quarterbacks this year?
I think sometimes
this isn't the first year he's gone through multiple quarterbacks like this amount.
Yeah. I think sometimes Kyle maybe is just a little bit too confident with his players, and it's like, oh no, we're going to do this. My scheme's going to work. It's going to work. So yeah, if Brandon Ayuk, if Purdy would have thrown that ball a second faster, he probably still would have got hit, but would it have been as bad? We don't know. But BA would have scored a touchdown, right? That's what matters, right? Because Kyle's scheme works, right? No, so you got a point. He has to call plays that aren't going to get people hurt. But I think somebody made this point too and said something like Trey Lance runs better up the middle. He's not fast enough to get to the edge, like how Colin Kaepernick used to get to the edge. Trey Lance isn't that type of quarterback because he's not really a running quarterback. He's just mobile. So for Kyle to run him the way he did, and it goes back to like, okay, when we first got Trey Lance, he broke his middle finger, but we didn't tell nobody. It was a secret, right? Then he comes in and runs him like a running back in the Cardinal game, right? He runs him like that, and he gets his knee injured because he probably would have played the next week against Indy, but then it came out that his knee was injured, not his finger was broken, right? That came out later in the season. And then that came out like right before the Texan game where he's like, oh, he's healthy enough to play. So, I mean, like, there's just, I don't know. I mean, like, Kyle's got to get on board, and he's got to quit thinking that these guys are just Madden NFL players because people do get hurt. And we don't have, 8 quarterbacks on the team that are in the same athleticism as everybody. You can't have 10 starting quarterbacks. You can't. So with me sitting here saying I want 3 quarterbacks that are going to be decent, that's really a pipe dream, man. I mean, like right now we have Brock Purdy and Trey Lance,
but you're not talking about 3 quarterbacks that are going to be decent. You said yourself you don't think Brock Purdy's going to come back this year, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I think we need to get more than one quarterback this offseason.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why, like putting it into the O-line right now isn't helping. We need to either we need to get stuff out of the guys we've already drafted. First of all. Oh my gosh, how many guys have we plucked out of the draft? And supposedly we've got this great offensive line coach and all this and that. Well, let's see it. Let's get some freaking studs, okay? And this is the year I'm going to see it. But
yeah, and I don't want to say somebody can and can't do something because I can always be proved wrong. This is just me talking. But what it does appear, like if you look at Indy SU, Trey Lance, he was running up the middle. He wasn't running to the sidelines. Like he was doing a lot of quarterback sneaks, and like that's what I seen, and that's what I seen them trying to do with him in the league too, because maybe he wasn't able to throw with his hands. So I don't know, there's been a lot of like just bad luck with Trey Lance, and I think moving forward, we need to keep him safe, make him be a quarterback, not a running back.
Yeah, that's kind of what Bashar's saying here, and this is how I've been saying it, and the reason being is he needs to be able to run the Jimmy offense, and he's not good at those over the middle throws. So guess what? He's going to ask to be doing that from time to time to get better at that, especially game time. But also what I want Kyle to do is mix in some of them boots. You know what I mean? Because that's something he's comfortable with. That's something he's good at. So I want him to mix some of them controlled pocket passes with some of them bootlegs, with some of them maybe like a planned scramble. You know what I mean? Maybe it's you post up for a second and then you shuttle out over there because it's a 2-stage play or something like that. You're trying to get it, whatever it is. But I think that there should be different things just to move him around.
Yeah.
Get him to different what is fucking Grant started calling it. Was it the delivery spot or there's a spot, the launch point. The launch point is where you throw the ball from, right? And if you keep on having the launch point at the same spot, it's like muscle memory for the defensive ends to get there because they have been running the same curve, the same thing every single time to get to the same spot, right? They know where it is. You could blindfold them. So like if you move them around, they can't do that. They have to be observant to what's going on.
Yeah, I would like to see them play Trey Lance more like Steve Young. Steve Young was made to play quarterback. They told him to quit running around. You're going to get yourself hurt. Bill Walsh made him stand there in the pocket and play quarterback. And, he got better. He got better and better after that. And then when he did need to scramble, he had that ability because he had that talent. He had that athleticism. But then when Michael V came into the league, he wasn't Steve Young. He went to run more. Hey, I'm going to take off and run. And he did great doing it. And I think Kaepernick was more like Michael Vick in that sense. Let me take off with my feet. But Trey Lance isn't that quarterback, and that's not the quarterback we need. We need the quarterback that, like you said, he throws the Jimmy middle passes. I like to see him throw 10-yard passes to the sticks on the outside where it's just, a dump-off pass. Let's just see him, do those 5, 6, 7
let's do those on Let's do those on first down when they think we're going to run.
Yeah.
And on third and longs.
And after he completes that, we're
and on
golden.
third and longs, let's get him out in some space on the outside and like a bootleg or something he's comfortable in 3rd and long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until he shows that, on 1st and 10, he's making great, great throws. It seems like he's honing things in. Then you can start sprinkling in those plays into the 3rd and longs, right?
Yeah.
Then you can start springing the boots into the first downs, right? Because we don't need to worry about this. It seems like he's coming along. You know what I mean? And now they never know what the hell you're doing. And if you do things right, you'll be able to run on 3rd and long and still make a 1st down because everybody will be so, you know what I mean? They're expecting you to pass. Obviously, you're supposed to pass, but it'll be one of them things where you could just run a draw, and they're like, "Oh crap," you know what I mean? With Trey Lance, you know what I mean? You can run a draw with Trey Lance at that point, and it'll be or one of those what do they call it, the RPOs?
I think the ability to run, everybody gets excited about. But I think that the most exciting thing about him is him being able to step back and then chuck that ball down the field. That's what we needed. Because we didn't have that with Alex Smith. Kaepernick had that, ability to throw it far, but he wasn't the quarterback that Alex Smith was. We knew he just wasn't that game manager, but he had that athleticism, and we had a defense that could, help him in, where he needed it, where we needed the defense to win a game for us. But we haven't had that quarterback, and now we go ahead and we get Jimmy Garoppolo in there, and he still doesn't have that deep ball that we need. And now we have Trey, and it goes to having that explosive arm that we haven't had since maybe Steve Young. Jeff Garcia didn't have a deep arm, so it's just like we need that ability. But the thing that I love about the Jimmy offense is those 10-minute drives, 14-minute drives, like 17-minute plays. I like them running the ball. I don't think we need to score 30-something points. I like that ability. But if we win by 28, it's 28-10 or 28-3, I'm happy. That's not a boring game to me. No.
I do think there's times that we need to show that we can score really quickly. There's times we need to I feel that, probably once a quarter, maybe once a half, but normally I want to think once a quarter we should be taking a shot. And the reason why I say that is because it just opens up the running game. Because if we connect on those shots, everybody will be scared, and they're like, let's just give them the run game. Let's just give them the run game. It's better than just giving them the shots. You know what I mean? Because did you see Danny Gray? Did you see Danny Gray? You know what I mean? Did you see Trey Lance with that arm? We can't. That's going to be a long day. You know what I mean? That's going to be a long day. You know what I mean?
The only problem with that, though, okay, it works great for the offense. We all love it, right? Fantasy football owners and everything, right? But it kills our defense too a little bit. And that's why I really love, if we do it too often, I don't like it. Because I don't want to see a bunch of quick scores. I like it, that mash time. But I hear what you're saying. It backs up the defense.
If you do it once a quarter, that could be once every other drive.
But say you do that, right? Which, I don't mind. It doesn't have to be the same game plan every week, right? But say you do that, and instead of having that 10-minute drive, you score really quickly, and then the other team comes out with an 8-minute drive and kills our defense because, for whatever reason, they just keep converting.
Oh, no, I totally
pressured, but
I totally get you. And
again, it doesn't always have to be a game plan, but I love that ability with Trey, having that explosive arm.
I just think we need to be able to, in a moment's notice, be able to rain down upon people and make them shit themselves. Because, I want that Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type, let's score in 17 seconds, type offense. But I don't want to run that all the time.
Yeah.
Which is hard because it's either you're in the zone of doing it or you're not. But I also don't think that with these receivers and with Trey Lance being able to get on a page and know certain plays, I see it being able to be pretty actually fluid and not having to worry about certain things. because you only need like 3 or 4 plays to go down the field with Trey's arm. So you could have like come up with 4 or 5 long bomb plays, have them practice like 3 or 4 times throughout the week, and you should be good to go. They should be able to do it with their eyes shut, I think. You know.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, the ability to have that, option at any time in the game, that's the dagger. That's what's holding us back. Because again, you got only so many seconds on the game clock. Game almost over. You need so many points to win. Can your quarterback get you down there fast enough? And at this point, we don't know. You don't know. And we have the ability. We have the talent. We should be able to do it. We just need the reps. We need the team to gel. But that's what the kind of thing that Steve Young had for us. You go to the Green Bay NFC Championship game, the catch two, not NFC Championship game, but the wild card, the divisional round. Catch two. Steve just threw the ball a couple good times and we got down there. And that's what we need. We got the explosiveness with Gray. Debo, he might not be the best wide receiver, but he's still Debo when he gets that ball. And same thing with Ayuk. I think he's a better wide receiver, but he's not Debo. He's Ayuk. He does his own thing. So we got weapons. So we just got to get the ball to him.
He was saying that he's perfectly fine with drafting a wide receiver. Truth be told, I am too, if you can get a good guy that's a steal. But at the same time, it's not a need at all whatsoever. You just brought Juwan Jennings back for a tender. Well, you tendered him. BA's contract is going to be in the works next year. He's the number 1 wide receiver. You have to keep him. Yeah, we need to get younger at the position, but we also got Danny Gray chilling in the wings, waiting to be unleashed by Trey's arm. That's the other thing. Like with getting like a Marcus Mariota.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody who I think would be really good because I eventually want Trey to play.
Yeah.
This season, right? And I want him to be the starter, but I want somebody there who he can compete with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I want some sweat on that brow. And Mariota, I think, is a very good candidate for that. Oh, we got our buddy back. No, you're not coming in this week. No, I'm sorry, bruh. Bruh, I can't trust you. I just had a weirdo on earlier. I don't know if you're the same weirdo.
Was it Duct Tape Man?
No, it's Baklava guy. He got the Baklava mask. Looks like a different setup, though. I'm sorry, bro. If only wanted to be legit. If only want to be legit and talk football. Have a wonderful evening, though.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to see
ball.
No, we don't want to see
we ain't testing it out. I already sent him out. Him, I have a feeling he'll come back.
Last time, Duct Tape Man, I think that's what we called him.
Who did you say his name was? It was started with like a P or something. Like it wasn't Priscilla. Was it Priscilla?
Just for a quick second. No.
Bro. Why don't you hop up in here? Oh wait, you wouldn't be able to see him then either. That's right. Or can you can't see him, can you? No.
No, I didn't see him. No. I can see
he had one
chats,
of them.
but I can't see.
He had one of them masks on where they call him the baklava mask. Not like baklava, the Greek delicacy.
Is he the same one that had the big old eye cut out?
Yeah.
Ski mask. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the same guy from the other week. It didn't look like it. He looked like he was like a little more thicker. You know what I mean? Like a little more muscular. I don't
That
know.
other dude was skinny. So
I don't know
he
why
was.
he.
That other dude was crazy, a little creepy. But Ryan, I don't know. It's a Friday night. Is it a full moon? I haven't looked outside.
But there's something that people call a baklava mask. It's like it's the black ski mask, but in certain parts of the world it's called the baklava mask. It's called a baklava, and it's not a dessert. Yes, I know about the dessert. Yes,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Baklava is really
It's
good.
normally like you should see it with like Russians squatting in um what do you call them in track suits. It's probably where you see it with a cigarette in their mouth and a beer, probably an AK-47. It's like you remember the guys that did the shootout in like East Hollywood or whatever with the cops and had all the bulletproof body armor and all that. They had the same type of masks on there. It's like what you were gonna wear if you're gonna go be a mercenary and you didn't want anybody to see your face. It's a telltale sign that they want to do something where they don't want to get any sort of retribution for doing. You know what I mean? And they just sit in their room with their computer and their camera and think about how they can, you know,
But that dude was all
get the
posed and
rocks off.
everything, Ryan. That dude, the one a couple weeks ago,
Yes,
he was all
he
posed like,
he had swag. I'm not gonna lie. He had swag. He had character. He was just like he could have just been funny. Like this
yeah,
is
he
the
could have been
thing.
funny.
Why do why do you just have to get like homophobic or racial or anything like this? Why can't you just be a crack up? Why can't you just take the things I say and turn around and make them funny and go like that? It's called being witty. You know what I mean? Or you could roast me. You know what I mean? I take insults very well for the most part. If as long as they're funny, like I'm good with them. Like I'm wearing an orange shirt right now.
Hey, you could be funny. I'm funny looking. I got my
Ask
name
me
on
if
my
my
head.
name's
I mean, like,
Jack. You know what I
right?
mean? Like there's so many things you could do that I would giggle and laugh at. Um, this is what I'm saying. Why don't you just start your own channel? Why don't you start your own channel so the trolls can call your channel and say the homophobic stuff and the racial stuff? You know what I mean? I just say something funny
I'm
about
thinking.
something.
I'm
I don't
thinking.
know.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. Um, sometimes I don't say things on demand, but I have on demand. I used to have them. That was fun. You remember on demand our
Huh.
Comcast? You could go and watch the football games in like 11 minutes, 12 minutes.
Let's see. Do
Do
you know
like
a
the
Jay
NFL.
Steele?
Mm-mm.
Let's see what he has to say. Hello.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, how you
Much. What's
doing?
up?
Good, good. I was just trying to call in. This is my first time. I don't even know if this is working right. You guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good. We hear you. What's up?
Okay, good. Well, I was just, I listened to you guys and a couple other people, and I just wanted to call in. I mean, you got a call-in show, and, other than one or two, I'm just trying to call in and let's talk some football for a second. I know it's getting late, you know.
What's your team?
49ers, baby.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just on because to see what you guys were doing. It kind of was getting a little weird there with the chat and the call-ins or whatever. So I just thought it was a little right to give you some props and some respect and say, hey, one decent call-in, you know.
Yeah,
Appreciate
right.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we were just getting a little
what's your thoughts?
off topic there for a second, but we're glad you called in because it is a football show.
What's your
Def-
thoughts on the Brock Purdy timeline?
Well, honestly, his surgery, I guess, is going to happen next week, and we're going to have to see. You know, even on the best case scenario, 6, 7 months. And then, you know, a lot of people are talking about, okay, when that time comes, you know, he's going to be ready to go. If something's going on, we can just put him in there. But the fact is we don't know about arm strength. Yeah, you know, he's going to be able to throw it around a little while, but is he going to actually be ready to go, you know, when that happens? And so the time for me is the way I look at it as a fan. And like, I hear all the thing, I listen to the shows, and the thing is I'm a 49ers fan, and I want whoever's going to be ready to be ready, and I'm going to support them. You know, if it's Trey Lance, which he needs his reps. Everybody's talking he's a bust all the time and whatever. How do you do with the 4 games? You know, but he needs his reps. He needs his reps. You know, so the way I look at it is a lot of people might be right with Trey's probably going to start a few games, see how he does. And then if he's doing well, keep him in there. If he's not, then let's bring Brock in and see what he can do. That's the way I kind of look at that whole thing.
Do you think we should have Marcus Mariota or a Jacoby Brissett?
Well, see, that's where it kind of gets into where it was kind of funny. You know, there's other people that know a little bit more. Like Jacoby Brissett is probably somebody that I think would fit well. Mariota, I don't know. I think Mariota's a lot of people like Krug, and I understand that he played well against us. And that, hey, saying something against the number 1 D, some other things, whatever. But, you know, some of these quarterbacks, it's just like, want a third? Do we want a starter? Do we want to pay somebody that's kind of a starter but willing to be a third? How many's out there? That's really when it's getting into like, okay, that's where the GM job, you know, what's Kyle doing? You know, what's John Lynch doing? Going to have to kind of go by what they think. They're watching these people. They know a little bit more than I do, you know, but we definitely need somebody. I'll say it like this. We definitely need somebody that can come in and take QB3 money, but can be a starter and win some games and put it out there for us if we need it. That's kind of how I look at it. Now, who that person is, there's like Cooper Rush. There's all kinds of people out there. I don't know. I don't watch each one enough to understand, you know, which one in particular, and they can all be a bust. Look how it works. You know, we think this person's going to do it. Kirk Cousins, whatever. You know, I don't know.
You just sit there. You know they're waiting for that man right there. That's what everything, because he might or might not get picked up again for, you know, they might give him a 1-year deal. They might sign him to 3. If Kirk comes available, oh my gosh, I might bet my last dollar, because that, you guys know they've been wanting him since the Kyle Shanahan regime started. I'm not saying that's who we should get, but you just said what I've been thinking. You did. Kirk Cousins, do you like that, buddy?
Well, you know, I mean, I to me, it's better than like trying to think, you know, the whole Aaron Rodgers debate. Like, I understand having something to talk about. Like, I really do. You know, but some of this stuff becomes where, you know, is that really rational? Are we really going to do these things? Are we really going to put it all out there? And I understand, because we're impatient. As a 49ers fan, man, it's disappointing every year. You know, but it's also reassuring because at least I can still talk a lot of crap to a lot of other people, say at least we're in it most of the time, or know what we're doing most of the time. I mean, every year isn't going to be, you're not going to have this time with like New England and some of the, where it's a one-off, you know, but you do have to have that quarterback. And I feel like, you know, Brock Purdy can be that guy. But honestly, I think there's things about him, just like Trey, that can you put all together. I think probably one of the best things I ever heard was putting those two together putting Purge's intelligence and game management, just being able to see the field, turn his back, those kind of things. Put those with Trey's arm, athletic, his height, being able to see over this line, that kind of thing would be optimal. But, these are one-off things. What are you going to do?
Hold on real quick. Hey, Johnny Sports, I see you backstage. Do you have a camera? Seems like you've got a camera turned off because your little camera turn off symbol isn't on. I guess you've got a camera. If you want to turn your camera on and let us know you're not some weirdo, I'll let you on.
You're not seeing me right now, right? Hello?
I can still hear you.
You guys not see me?
No, we can hear you. We can see you and hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if he was.
He was talking to another guy in the background. He might bring another guest on, but the guest doesn't show his camera.
My first time doing this. I've actually thought about subscribe. I had to look. Look, I'm 47. I know I'm a little older than you guys, but and I know how to do a lot of this stuff. But I was kind of having to look up like what I do to join the chat. Like I'm trying to subscribe and talk about some things. But yeah, I just saw you guys hanging out. Wanted to give a call. That's figured you deserve one decent call.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. We're just calling. There's not a lot going on right now. There's news, so we can really pick any kind of topic to talk about and go from there. It's a Friday night hangout call-in show. We're 49er fans, and that's what we're talking about. It's 49er stuff. Every once in a while, I might throw in a dad joke, but for the most part, it's just 49er talk. And yeah,
that's man. I'm a dad too. I get it. I was actually interested when he was talking about the how you walk and learning how to walk and your gait and all that. I was like, that's a thing to know. All right. And that makes sense. You're starting off from a young age and you're starting a certain way, and you just learn that and your body becomes used to that.
Well, if you really look at it, like how people walk is just taking crawling and turning it vertical. Like the knee comes up, parallel with the other one, you know what I mean? Like shoulder width, you know what I mean? Like it's like that. It's just doing it a different plane essentially. But right. I was totally just like dumbfounded. Like, you telling me your 13-year-old is having to learn to crawl?
Well, that's what I was kind of tripping on, because you said that, and I was like, you went over to their house, and I'm like, you're watching a 13-year-old crawl around the house for a second. You're like, what the hell is going on here?
No, he was at physical rehab doing it, physical therapy. Okay. Yeah, and she was telling me about it because I had a daughter, and I was saying how like. So my daughter was like, she wouldn't walk on her own. She had already crawled. She wouldn't walk on her own. She would like pretend like she needed to hold on to something. She'd have the push toy and she'd walk over to the chairs, right? And she would like stand next to the chairs, wouldn't hold on to it. And then like one-handed move the push toy around, you know what I mean? While she's not holding on to anything, and then have to walk back. But then you go to take the thing away and she's got to fall down because she can't do it without the toys being around. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you fool. We just like she used to freak out because she couldn't pick up a 20-pound bag of dog food. You know what I mean? Like she just, if she wanted to climb it, she wanted to pick it up. You know what I mean? Like she's trying to get into stuff. You know what I mean? It's wonderful.
Independent woman. An independent woman.
Hey, she runs leaning forward.
Okay.
If that tells you anything, like
that's right. She's putting her head into it.
She leads into the danger head first. Yes.
That's right.
I want to get her in some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm just saying.
I wanted to I don't want to keep you guys too long. I don't know how long it's only 9:45 where I'm at. I'm towards the west. I'm in right now.
Where are you at?
Tucson.
Oh, okay. My
Yeah.
daughter is actually down there in Arizona. I'm trying to actually move down there to be with her. So,
Oh, really?
yep.
Oh, it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Actually, we just got some snow the other morning here. It was kind of crazy. It actually
Yeah.
snowed a couple of times this past week here.
Yeah,
But
was it Wolfcast? Wolfcast was just talking about he lives north of you in Arizona, Flagstaff, somewhere around Flagstaff, and
yeah.
he was talking about shoveling 4 or 5 feet or something like that. I think it was.
It's crazy. Well, we're known for our 120-degree weather here, basically.
Yeah,
So, when it snows, it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
It's pretty rare.
it snowed there, and then it snowed in Santa Cruz and San Jose. I mean, you don't get snow on the beach too often in Santa Cruz, so I mean it's definitely been crazy.
and where I live, it normally snows, and it hasn't snowed. Like I walked
Really?
out today. I went walking to the store with no socks on today, with my Crocs and my pajama pants on, and you know what I mean. Just like we could.
It's a COVID world.
Well, I got a corner store that's actually on the corner, so it's like I didn't have to bundle up. Normally I'll put socks on because I don't want my feet getting cold through the holes, but it wasn't even that bad, so it got me
Yeah,
some snacks.
crazy here with the weather. It's just on a side note. I know we're going way out, but yeah, it's actually a good thing because water. Water is a precious resource over here in Arizona and a couple other places, and so it's good that we're getting some good,
Well,
snow and fall and stuff to fill up the reservoirs and the lakes and whatnot.
I've done some research, and it seems to me like, well, now don't get me wrong, they don't get a lot of water, but to say that they really have water issues with how much water because 1 acre drops, I think, was it 2,700 gallons of water? You know what I mean? So you get 4 to 8 inches on average. Like there's a lot of water that's there. It's just flowing out. It's not being slowed and stopped on the land. You know what I mean?
No, that's exactly right. Well, it's like, just look at basic infrastructure. Like our streets and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell when it rains, people get crazy here. They can't drive right. So they get scared. They go in places they shouldn't, into things that are washes that would deep water, and then they drown or do weird stuff. But the infrastructure isn't really made for water because we don't get a lot of rain. So you see when it rains, like there's not gutters and runoffs and things and stuff like that, to where all the water is running towards certain areas and pulls up and starts flooding real quick.
Yeah, it's not ready for the flash floods.
So have you guys ever been in Kentucky? Have either of you ever driven through Kentucky?
No.
So Kentucky's really twisty, windy roads, a lot of hills. It's coming off of the Appalachian Mountains, so it's really crazy back there. So if you know anything about Kentucky, Kentucky is a Commonwealth state, and what that means is everybody's commonly poor, right? We're all poor, right? We all, So, but the fun thing about Kentucky is they got paid by the mile when they put the roads in. So that's why they have all these loops and turns, because they got the distance with the miles. And I'm like, sense, it really does, and save money by not putting in the guardrails. And they justified it by saying, hey, there's not a lot of people in here anyway. But when you're driving through Kentucky, the sad thing is all these loops and turns, you don't see the cars and stuff like that in the summertime and the springtime. But when it gets fall, you start seeing all these cars and trees and stuff alongside the hill and stuff. And it's crazy because cars will go off the road and stuff. But when it's raining, snowing, if you don't know how to drive, you better go slow. I've learned it myself. I've slipped on black ice. I've driven through really, really horrible rain where I've had to pull over. If you have to pull over, it's not worth it. It really isn't.
Yeah. No, that's correct. It's correct. It's danger. If you don't know what you're doing out there in certain situations, it gets really dangerous. Well, like I said, a lot of people, and not to say, but a lot of people, when it rains here and gets real bad, they're not used to that. And then so sometimes they're speeding or doing other things or going actually too slow where they're going to cause a problem. It's just,
Yeah.
It can be crazy.
Brakes can cause just as many accidents as speeding can. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if you're braking for no reason unexpectedly, you know what I mean? Like, that could cause issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually rear-ended somebody one time because of that. They were actually slamming on their brakes to avoid hitting, and they were doing something with somebody else in front of them. And it was kind of my fault too, but yeah, a lot of that where you just kind of, drive unexpectedly all of a sudden and then create other problems.
Right. That's, look, I don't necessarily want to say it, but self-driving cars, if every car was on the same system and they knew where they were going, like, traffic would be a lot better. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have a-holes cutting in and out of traffic trying to be there a minute quicker than somebody else. And, you have the people that are going for 100 miles, they'd be in the fastest lane while the other people that are about to get off start merging on over. You know what I mean? The only issue is that if somebody got control of that database and decided to turn everything off in the front and turn everything on in the back, there would be an issue. You know what I mean? Like, stop and then everything behind it full go, not a good thing.
Yeah, I idea. The thoughts are great, but I'll never give up my little Volkswagen car. I'm telling you, if they ever drop a nuclear bomb, and everything goes out, I'm gonna get in my little Karma Gia. I'm gonna drive down the road. I worked at Tesla for a little while in Fremont, and they're great cars, and the idea is great. But yeah, you're not gonna take my bus from me. I got a Volkswagen bus, and I can fill that baby up, and I can drive to Arizona. I'm not worried about not gonna do it. So, and I don't want you to take where I can drive away. What if I just want to drive to the corner and park, and sit there, I don't necessarily.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I mean, some of that is just, I don't know how I feel about leaving control to just a computer.
Yeah.
On the side note, but it is where you notice, like, when you're the passenger and when somebody's driving and you're the passenger and you get to just stare outside passenger side window and you're like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. While the driver's like, well, I can't look at that, I'm trying to drive. You know what I mean? Like, I want to, or I'm looking over and I'm trying to stare at it and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm swerving over here now, but that's probably the only thing that I think as a passenger, like, that's a nice thing as a passenger. You're able to see everything. Look, like, I've noticed stuff even in my own town. You're like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that because I was just busy driving, And it is kind of I think the only thing kind of nice about that is you're able to enjoy maybe the scenery and the actual quote unquote drive of, where you're going and what you're doing. Your focus isn't all on just, staring down at the speedometer, where's this, where's that, you can kind of relax and then almost enjoy your surroundings. Meanwhile, there's some computer who knows just leading you down to your death down the road, but
No, it's like, I remember one time someone was talking, like, they're talking about the New World Order, right? And they were like, do you believe in a world government? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess kind of. And they're like, that's New World Order. And I was like, no. I'm talking about, like, Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between New World Order and Star Trek, but you know what I mean? Like, they could almost, the definition of how they run their government and how the government was could be the same. I mean, like, there's a total difference. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about seeing stars and stuff like that, and us forgetting our petty differences because we look down and don't see the borders. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's probably where, like when they did one of those Earth shots, from a shuttle back in the 70s, 80s, where it got the good picture of the Earth, and it made everybody all of a sudden think, oh, we're one people, and let's get,
Oh, you talking about the blue dot?
Yeah.
Carl Sagan, man. Oh my gosh. I remember I was in trouble for not cleaning my room for like 4 years. And in the middle of one morning, I'm sitting there, playing in my room, pretending to be cleaning my room, and she startles me and she's like, "Hey, go downstairs, watch TV." I'm like, "Huh?" Because I'm not supposed to watch TV. I've been grounded for a couple years for not cleaning the same room I'm sitting in playing. Yeah. And she made me watch the Cosmos. And it was like, it doesn't matter if you're in trouble. You need to watch the Cosmos because this is something that your brain needs to, you need to start thinking about this stuff because it might be in your future later. That was crazy. And I just sat there.
Start thinking a bit,
Oh, man. The worlds I thought I was going to be able to see by this age. You know what I'm saying? That, always wanted to be a space pirate.
Not that far yet. We are getting, Mars. Who's the next? Who knows? Who knows what's the next thing? But man, way off 49ers football, huh?
It's a college show. We do what we want.
That's okay because it's off season, and we can get a little bit, crazy and drop some knowledge and have conversations that go a little off the world, right? Off this planet.
I'm all right with that.
I got a question.
I'm all right with that.
I got a question while you're here. Free agent needs. What do you think is not free agent?
Back.
What do you think you think they go defensive back in free agency? Do you think they try and huh?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think they bring back Mike McGlinchey?
Just because he's going to price himself out, like everybody knows. And I think there's a couple of people that you can draft this year. One, maybe. I don't have anybody offhand. But just to keep the depth going. But no, they're not. If they can, fine. I think he's probably one of the best, not to say he's so awesome. All right, but we understand. Let's keep it real. As far as that position goes, there's not a lot of people out there. And if they are, they're just as expensive.
Well, no. They're in free agency, there isn't a lot of better quality. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Guy.
There's one or maybe.
No, there's one.
Or what get.
I think Nathan brings up a good point. He says that the team seems like they want McGlinchey back, and I kind of feel that vibe too.
I do too.
He's got to take a team friendly. He has to take a team friendly deal for the team to vibe him back.
I don't know. I can't call what people are going to do. When I hear team friendly deal, I understand that. And I understand that. I think that is sometimes more for people that maybe are towards the end of their career or maybe still trying to create their career and they're with a good team and they're like, let me stay here, But if the man go get paid somewhere else, why wouldn't he go do that? And I'm not mad at him for that. I'm not really mad at him for the way he played ball this year. A lot of people have these highlight reels, and I've seen him be put on his butt a couple of times. But overall, the stats talk about it. He was pretty good overall, and he was injured for a while too. And played through that. So I don't know. I think he's probably going to be gone, and I think that's a huge loss in some ways, but I also think there's just plenty of other positions that need to be taken care of too. I think defensive tackle needs to be taken care of. I think we need to get somebody on the edge so Bosa can get a break. That man was gassed out by the end of the year. Now, I also think Bosa was doing some of the things he was supposed to do. He was trying to go for the record, but when it was getting close to the end where it's like, we need to win these games, try to get that first seed, possibly, but win these games, he was doing more of his, let's do the coverage, let's do the run. I'm not trying to stick the quarterback every time. I'm trying to hold my position in my gap. And I think that was important, and that shows professional player. He wanted to get that sack. I understand pass Alden Smith. I get all that.
Did you
He
hear
also,
did you hear his interview with Sherman?
I've heard other people talking about it. I could watch it, but I've heard other people talk about it. I know he talked about and some other things.
I suggest you watch that and the CMC on Bussin' with the Boys. They're both good ones to at least see in person. But he said, one thing I really appreciated from him, he said, I got up on stage, I won my Defensive Player of the Year, and it didn't quench my thirst. He said, I thought I would be happy with that. He said, I thought, it would like do something. It didn't. So it's like he's jonesing for one thing, and that's a Super Bowl trophy with the San Francisco 49ers.
In that chip, yeah.
Yep. And that, I love attitude like that. Like, remember that video shot of Kittle in the Super Bowl after their loss, and he's just looking up saying, I will be back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the guys I like. The ones that are like, secretly, I don't care what you think. I am working every day to get back to the mountaintop again. I want to get back to the mountaintop.
Well, I think that's what it's all about, right? Ultimate.
Yeah.
That's the other thing we keep talking about, the window. And I understand that we have this set up, this team right now, and it's the way it looks is these are it should be winning Super Bowls, But I think every year, I don't know, if you went to any player every year, I think they would tell you, hey, we want to be contenders, but it's about that Super Bowl. It's about getting that ring. And so I don't know. I'm kind of just confused when I'm talking about the window. Like, I understand, like, this team, right? We have all these players, and the window to me is like in 2 years, we won't have all these good players. And so we're going to be a bust for like 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. So we need to get it now. So let's get Aaron Rodgers. Let's go get Brady, whatever we need to do. But I think every year is what you're working for. And I don't want to be one, and I've heard this discussion, and I don't want to be one of these people that say, well, I'll take one Super Bowl and then just like 5 losing seasons. Or would you be contenders every year and see what happens?
Okay. But look at that, right? And with that, I agree. I totally don't want to be like the losing team every year, getting, the top 1 to 5 draft pick in the league. But we've already been that team. We've been that team, and we don't want to go back to it. I get it. But we've also been that team that's been competitive for 28, 29 years. And we haven't got it done. We made it to 2 Super Bowls, and both Super Bowls, we can sit back and say maybe it was a referee decision on why we won Super Bowl. Maybe it was a bad coaching, call, because trying Crabtree 4 times in the end zone wasn't a good idea when you have Gore right there. Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders in the game, and then not even giving the ball to Debo at the end of the game. In the third, fourth quarter. You didn't want Debo to be the MVP? It just, so for whatever reason, this team wants to win a Super Bowl, but they want to win. They want to win, and they want to have their staple on it. So like Kyle wants to be like, I was the reason. It was me. It wasn't the quarterback. And until this team gets over this little ego thing and really just says, and I think that's where the locker room is, and that's why the locker room kind of wants Jimmy, because we're like, we got this far with Jimmy. He's our guy, right? Whether us fans believe he's our guy or not, that's where this team is. He got this, you want to say the Cabo clique or whatever. Well, they like each other, and they're going to continue to play with each other as long as they like each other and believe in this window. This window is going to close because, like you said, the contracts, these players are getting older. So, again, we can get a quarterback, and it's going to, maybe put us in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad. I really am not. It's been 29 years. I was running around, first grade when we won this first Super Bowl, the 5th Super Bowl. There's too many people like me. We want to see it.
Well, see, and that's kind of where I'm at. Is that the thing? I listen to some other people, and is that the thing to where, are we impatient? Is that, see, I almost think really when it comes down to it, and I don't know if the is, but being impatient with Trey Lance. Because all of a sudden we got a taste of Brock Purdy. He wins 8 games in a row, and we're in the, championship game. But are we willing to take a chance, stand that? Like, I'm not sure. I think that was a one-off with Purdy. Not to say Purdy did his thing, and I hope he's doing that, But is that something that we can actually, if we have to wait a season and a half for Trey to get where he needs, it's like Jalen Hurts. They were ready to dump on him, kick him out. And now all of a sudden, I bet you most of those Eagle fans who are, ready to kick his ass out are like, the bee's knees.
The best.
Now. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Never doubted.
Did you not hear that one guy who was like trying to sound like he was like, I'd suck Jalen Hurts' dick. You know what I mean? Like he was trying to sound like he was, like doing this and that. And it's like, and you're probably the one saying, 2 years ago he was trash and they need to get rid of him.
Yes, get rid of him.
Yeah. And it's like Josh Allen. Look at Josh Allen.
You guys see the Joe Rogan show the other day where the Eagle fan came on and was like, "Oh, Jalen Hurts was the best kid at the Super Bowl." I was like, "Come on, man."
Well,
It's like, I would take that a little bit more serious, if
the stats might actually say that, because look, if you look at the stats, he could have almost got the MVP with a loss.
He balled out.
I'm not that much of a homer to admit it. Like, look, but they did lose, and I'm happy.
Me too.
I'm happy, but again, it's like it's hearing a fan come out and say it, Patrick Mahomes just won his second Super Bowl, third, come on, he's been there 3 times now, and then you're gonna say your quarterback who fumbled the ball, who probably cost you the Super Bowl, even though the stats are better, but that fumble cost you the game.
Oh, I wanted to bring something up. We were talking about people wanting to just win one and then suck for 5 years, kind of like the Rams. Well, the Rams screwed themselves for the foreseeable future on a Super Bowl run that was almost derailed by one interception in the NFC Championship game. So it's not like it's an even guarantee that if you just sell everything and do all this stuff and screw yourself eternally, that it happens. You know what I mean? You can still have injury.
Yep.
That's why I think it's better to build a team that can take shots consistently deep into the playoffs.
You know what I mean? With that mentality, that's why it's so hard for a lot of fans to accept putting a rookie quarterback into into the starting position when this team can win right now. And our win is open right now. I agree. He needs to play. He needs to get his opportunity. But that's the argument right now is we keep having this opportunity. We keep getting this close. So when are we going to take a step back and say, okay, guys, this isn't the year we're going for the title next year. But we're the 49ers. We always go for the title. So
that's what I'm saying. And even with Trey having to get the kinks out, right? Well, we start slow anyways. We're we're always going to be like 3-5, okay? So let's be 3-5 with Trey Lance and see if we can't maybe be like 3-4. You know what I'm saying? Or 4-4. You know what I mean? Because the way I see it is he's going to struggle in the beginning. Okay. First thing, he hasn't really played any considerable amount of football in like 3-4 years. Okay. So he's going to struggle for the first couple games. I'm willing to let it happen. I know we're ready to go. We could still, if we went 3-5 this season and made it to NFC Championship, we can let Trey Lance have issues in the beginning of the season, drop 5 games if you want to pin it all on him and not the fact that our offense slowly starts the season because it is so intricate and it has so many moving parts to get everybody ready. But if you want to blame it all on him, that's fine. I don't want people just going, oh, we're 3-5 and act like we're not 3-5 every year by week 8.
Right. Let me, on a side note, let me ask you that. So, this is what I'm hearing, and I kind of believe it to think that. So, Kyle Shanahan, he takes a couple of games to dial it up. He needs to see what's going on. He needs to see how they're playing us, different teams, what the schemes are. We line up our scheme. And I don't know. I hear people every year, and this year especially, that's what they're saying. They're like, we need to get back, we need to be 5-2, instead of 3-4, which I don't think there's any fan that wouldn't agree with that. I'd rather be
Right.
5-2 than 3-4. But I do kind of it does make sense to me to understand, hey, at the beginning of the season, and I don't think this is for every team, or it's maybe the exact way to get, play ball. But it does kind of make sense the way he schemes things and the way I see stuff, that it does take a few games to understand, okay, how's the league going to play us? What are we doing? And then he adjusts. And does that make, I don't know, that's kind of a side thing. Does that make sense? Because I hear a lot of that, like 3-4, 4, we need to be like 6-1 all of a sudden, which I hope we are, and we need to.
Well, it makes sense, right? But you guys remember too, like the 2019 Super Bowl season, we made it to the Super Bowl. We were 8-0. So it's not like we don't start slow every year. Hey, Steve-O, it depends on our schedule too, and like maybe we had weaker opponents that year. Yeah, the offense did struggle a little bit. They did come out slow, and we did start clicking a little bit. We started clicking when we got Emmanuel Sanders too. So maybe that's the difference too. Like this season, and you can say, well, we had some Debo and Kittle injuries. Maybe some players came in that weren't maybe in game shape. McGlinchey, you guys have too. So I mean, like, I think every year is a little different. But yeah, if we were 5-3 or 3-5, I really don't think it matters as long as we get to the playoffs. Once we're in the playoffs, we're dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. Totally. It doesn't matter if it's 3-5 to start the or 5-3. I would rather be 3-5 to start the season and have a good solid stretch of getting better until we get into the playoffs. That sounds way better than being undefeated until week 14 and then dropping 3 games going into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
and I'm okay with that.
Eagles had a hell of a run. And all that can, in the very end, you come up short. So, does it matter if you go 8-0 to start or you start off a little slow? I'm not for either way. I hope we go 8-0 and keep going. But I do understand how it might take a few games to understand how teams are going to play, what the league's doing, what the refs are, how it's just kind of going. And Shanahan's so cerebral and in his own damn head so much that he's, slowly starting to figure it out. And then here we go, and never mind the acquisition of CMC. I mean, just to say it.
Game changer.
That put a hold on it.
Game changer. Season changer.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think, man? You're over there and you just popped in. Thanks for showing up, man. You might be on mute.
Finally.
Perfect. We can hear
There
you.
we go.
What do I think about what?
Any thoughts? It's Friday night. You've been listening to the show all night. We're going in different directions, but what is your thoughts on, like, right now, starting out fast, starting out slow? Does it matter to you?
Darkwing Ducker.
Boom.
Chelsea. Huey, Dewey, and Louie all the way.
Launchpad McQuack.
Dude, that was my favorite show growing up as a kid, man.
Oh, I did it. I derailed it. My bad. I was making jokes.
Oh, man, now I got to say Gizmo Duck.
But so I think the reason why we start out slow is the year before last we lost 11 coaches. Last year we lost 8 coaches. So it's going to take them a little bit to mesh and get things the way they want to do it. So I think that's the reason why we had the slow starts last.
I think it's our offensive line. Remember how we were just yelling for their heads early on in the season, and it didn't look good. Our running game wasn't working well. Obviously, we lost a quarterback because of it. I mean, there was, well, not necessarily because of it, but, running up the middle, there's, you obviously didn't get the hole big enough if the quarterback's getting tackled. It's just, I think it's them not being on the same page. That's why I kind of wish Kyle would come out and have, run more like downhill power football in the beginning of the season, where it's not so many pulling guards or this and that. It's double team, like deuces, which is where you double team both tackles, and then everybody's singled on the outside, and you just go double team and then move on to linebackers. It's really basic play, but it's something that could be done week one. It doesn't have to really be installed. People been doing it since day one of their high school career. You know what I mean? If you started the season out with a couple of wrinkles and not trying to install like all your wrinkles, then you could start working off of that, and then maybe your offense wouldn't look so tied down or sluggish or unprofessional so early on in the season. Just thought.
I mean, I think the last year or two, we had a pretty good offensive line. It was one of our strengths. And what everybody wanted was they wanted a cornerback and to upgrade the special teams. So that's what we did. We went and upgraded our quarterback and special teams, but something's got to take a step back. And so that was our offensive line. And so, I mean, you can't be top 5 in every spot, you know what I mean? Like, something's got to give.
They were pretty decent by the end of the year, but that was not how they were at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. They start out slow. And I just don't want people coming down on Trey Lance because, like the run game's not working. So therefore he has to pass, and then he throws an interception and the game is lost. You know what I mean? Like I don't want people to just go, oh, hey, it's all on Trey. No, Trey's got a little bit of more of a workload because other things aren't working. Yes, he made a mistake. Yes, he is, new to this, and, this is his fifth start, like I want people to take that in appreciation with everything else.
You have to pick a side. You have to pick one quarterback or the other. You can't do that. You have to pick one or the other.
What do you mean?
That's what crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, man. Just be a fan, Just be a fan. Give Trey those reps, let him start. He's going to start. I mean, the surgery, 6-7 months, he's going to start. Give him his reps. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he starts throwing an interception, loses one game, how long is it before we bring, the QB3 or whoever we get, this veteran or whoever we're going to get, starts coming in? He needs his reps. And honestly, I agree with a lot of people that maybe we got ourselves in a situation that we thought was going to be a little bit different in the beginning, but now over these couple of seasons with Jimmy staying and can't go, and we needed him, just to say he won games too for us, but a lot of things up, and I'm not sure we're in the same spot where we thought we could be with him, and they are understanding that and realizing, and then now we got Brock Purdy. So now do we have with these guys that we're trying to bring up, and who's going to be the main guy?
I just think first and foremost, we spent so much on Trey. Not only do I feel that the 49ers deserve or owe it to him to give him a damn chance, but I feel that the 49ers need to. Like, you can't push this down the road any longer. Right. You have to figure out what you have in Trey, and you have to what do you call it? You gotta commit. You can't just go, week 3, I can't do this anymore. No, you gotta go. You gotta commit. And I think that's going to be their toughest thing. And especially for some of the fans, it's going to be hard. You know what I mean? Right. And you're going to think, all this stuff is correct. But I feel he's going to I feel he's going to come through for us. And all else fails, all you're doing is keeping Brock on the sideline healthy. You're getting him better. You know what I'm saying? He's learning more. That's all that's happening the whole time. So if anything does happen, let's say the 49ers do get into the playoffs. Let's say Trey Lance does get hurt. If you were to pull out Trey Lance that whole time, you might have had a better record up to that point of starting Purdy, but Purdy might have also gotten hurt on the same play, and then you'd be putting in Trey Lance without this experience in. You know what I mean? So therefore, he could end up going through his trouble sometimes right when you need him the most in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Instead of him getting rid of that in the beginning, going and getting hurt maybe later on in the, I'm just saying, freak stuff happening. If he can get through to where he gets to a point where he can learn stuff, if he gets hurt at that point, then you've got Brock coming in just playing cleanup instead of having a less experienced Trey coming in to play cleanup. It's
Right.
it's
He's a hell of a backup.
yeah, it's like Elijah Mitchell last year. I was saying, like, look, don't play him in the playoffs. Don't play him. Don't only play him if you need him, because the guy gets hurt, but he doesn't fumble, and he's good for almost 10 yards a shot. So why not just keep him and break glass in case of emergency? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. I think, regardless who the number one pick was or what they decided to do a couple years ago, I think they did decide that they wanted to move off of Jimmy. The surgery, didn't happen. I think they wanted to get a veteran. I don't think that happened. They wanted Watson. They flirted with Stafford. They tried to get Rodgers. That didn't happen. And then they went for Lance. And when they went for Lance, they went for him, I believe, because they thought he was a safer bet over Trevor Lawrence. Or not Trevor Lawrence. Yes, Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields. Trevor Lawrence was the Jaguar quarterback. I'm sorry. Sunshine. But Justin Fields, the reason I think the Niners didn't go after him because of his epilepsy, his seizures. And I don't think that maybe is.
He's also smaller.
Yeah. But they were afraid, if he got hit and had a concussion, is he going to start compulsing on the sidelines or whatever? And maybe that's not the way they should have went about thinking about it. But when that came out, that his stock dropped. So now we have Trey Lance, and we just didn't give him the shot because we kept Jimmy on the team. And I don't know. Now we gotta eat it. Either he's gonna get to play or we need to let him go, right?
Nathan asked, does Brock request a trade if Lance shuts? Do
we really know what he's gonna look like? I mean, like after his injury, we got to see what he looks like.
Well, I personally don't think he will, because I have a feeling the 49ers will want to anyways. You see what I'm saying? So if Lance starts taking off, and Lance is the guy, right? There's no sense in keeping that talent on your team to let just leave in free agency. You know what I mean? So I see them looking for a spot to deal him where he would be good for him. I don't see them, just like, oh, Cleveland Browns, oh, Deshaun Watson got in trouble for, having another, massage, and this time they got video evidence. You know what I mean? No, it won't send you to Cleveland. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At this point, like you can't get the value out of Trey Lance because he hasn't earned his draft picks. We're not going to probably ever get that back.
That's the other thing. People talk about trading. It's like the option is not on the table to trade Lance until
because the cap hit's going to hurt too much, and then again he hasn't proven anything just yet. So
to
Brock Purdy at least.
Cap. Yeah,
so for Brock Purdy, the value that we get out of him, because he is, Mr. Irrelevant, we'd actually maybe get a higher pick for him, So I mean, like,
most definitely.
I think you're right, Ryan. First off, though, we got to see what he looks like, And at this point, I don't want to see him on the team this year, like playing. I want to just see him right whole season, let his shoulder heal up,
It's his elbow, but
sorry.
So everybody's quick to make these comments, and everybody went to Cabo, the Cabo click, or whatever the hell everybody's calling it. We had the number one defense for like 3/4 of the year, and from week 6, I was like, we need to come up with a name for this defense. We finished number 1. Did we ever get a name for our defense? But yet in 2 seconds, we get a Cabo click name. Why is that? Because negativity.
There's some jealous people out there, and they're like, "Oh, who's part of the Cabo click, and when they don't see their favorite person there, then they want to speculate and say, "Oh, well, that's why so and so is not starting because they're not part of the clique." And it's not like that. I don't feel it like that. I feel there's a family, and yeah, there's an inner family, and they got to go hang out, and maybe just not everybody got invited, but it wasn't that you're not part of the family. It's I don't feel it like that, but that's me. Maybe Homer vibes. I don't know.
Negativity breeds negativity, but I mean, when is the last time a number one defense that was as good as ours didn't have a name? You know, I was saying Brock and the Rock, but like right now, I'm trying to say instead of take 6, I'm trying to say SC 4-6, like Santa Clara takes, you know, the 6th, but like I don't know, just trying to get something to catch on. But like
Well,
that's never happened. Number one defense. With
It's
no name.
harder with the defense and like the 49ers and like the Miners and all that. You know, like it's not necessarily there's, you know, what do you and so many
Well, I
other
was gonna
names
say,
are kind of taken. Like you can't just go Wall or Steel or you know,
yeah, like
it's
a
a
couple
kind of
years ago, we had the Hot Boys, you know, and then I think they tried to say Sac Francisco, but that wasn't really working out because we weren't getting the sacks this year. So there's been a couple of times, but I think everybody was just trying to call us the Yak Boys, you know, the year before, and we weren't Yak Boys this year, that's for sure. So you make a good point. Usually defense gets a nickname. So
And I went on everybody's channel and you know kept saying it, and everybody didn't see it. I guess I don't know. I don't know.
you know what? We were just bullies. We were just dipping in your sack and taking your lunch. And we don't want to hear you cry about that shit neither.
yeah, give me your chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of things about the Cabo click and what it means, what it doesn't mean. And there's a lot of kind of rumors around there that because of who it was that was in Cabo and what their kind of thoughts are about Trey Lance, that might, you know, or what the locker room with those certain individuals is with Trey Lance, what that might kind of influence Kyle Shanahan and what goes on in the future. Do you guys think there's anything to that? Or do you really think that it was exactly probably what it was is a bunch of guys blowing off steam at the end of the season, and Shanahan has a place down there, and they were down there, and it worked out however it worked out?
All right, I got this one. So I've been watching a lot of stuff on YouTube lately about like the Beatles and Paul McCartney dying, and all these videos and stuff about the publishers were pushing records because they were having these encrypted songs and people were destroying their records, and you know they were getting mad, so they were breaking in, and it was just making a bunch of money, right? And there was all these like different, you know, little little nitpicks that were coming out saying, "Oh, this is why," and you know, no, they were just selling, you know, records, right? So then the same thing that goes on with like what was happening this season. Trey got hurt or got hit. Nobody picked him off the sideline. Well, maybe everybody thought he was up already. You know, I mean, like you got a helmet on. If you've ever played football, it's kind of hard to see sometimes around, especially you know when you just might have got clocked or something, right? You know, so like yeah, maybe somebody should have ran over and picked him up. But who on the field is supposed to be like, that's my job. I run over and pick up Trey. Maybe somebody should have done that, but I think too many people's led into that kind of stuff and been like, oh man, they just don't like him. They don't. No, you guys are reading into it too much, and I think that's what, like I was saying to Ryan earlier, is social media has made this world so small. So we hear everything on the sidelines, we hear everything, and then we get to read into it and try to make our own opinion. So I think, like you just said, the Cabo click was just some guys getting together that was having fun. And honestly, if those guys in Cabo, right, aren't Trey Lance supporters, do you want all those guys gone, or do you want Trey Lance? I mean, there's a certain point you either build around Trey Lance or you teak your team and you just continue to run with your team. So I don't think they're trying to break up the locker room at all. I think it was just some guys getting together.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I mean, ultimately, I think that's really what it is, and a lot of people are just trying to make some, you know, rumors or clickbait or do some other kind of something about it. I don't think there's really anything to it, but you know, I don't know. You know,
Like I said, we were bullied, right? I mean, we were bullies.
Well-
I mean, nobody won the week after they played us. So I mean, how hard is that on their body to go 12 in a row? I mean, I don't care who the hell. I don't care if they have Jessica Simpson, with them, or Pamela Anderson with them on the Cabo. I don't give a crap. They deserve it,
Yeah, there's just
I'm
some
sure feelings.
going on.
I'm sure some people's feelings are definitely in the dark nights over there in Cabo. Out on the beach somewhere. I'm sure with the waves crashing in the background somewhere. Some tequila in the hand. He's saying, "Hey, bro, I think we should really run it back with you." You know what I mean? I'm sure there's stuff like that. But I also think that's why they're not trying to do that stuff. They're trying to. It's them trying to be friends and kick it. You know what I mean? Enjoy each other after the season. Yeah.
Hey, Nathaniel brings up the best. He brings up the best point. The Eagles even lost after playing us. Everybody lost.
Yeah, they did.
After playing us.
After Kansas City, but they had a bye week.
Well, so the Eagles technically.
Hey, so Brian, you bring up they didn't help Trey Lance up. Well, like I've been trying to figure out for weeks and I can't figure it out. You remember George Kittle is the tight end guy, right? And Trey Lance and Josh Allen were supposed to show up. Trey Lance didn't show up. So I can't find anybody who would know, but I can't find out why he didn't show up because he was supposed to. Josh Allen showed up, and I'm thinking maybe that's why when he didn't get helped up, that might have something to do with it. But I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point. I do know that they went to his 21st birthday in Nevada. They went to Las Vegas together or something like that. George Kittle and Trey Lance.
No,
but then tied in University
they didn't go
was
together.
Supposed to happen afterwards.
They didn't go together. Trey Lance showed up.
Okay, because I thought they celebrated his birthday together.
When was this?
They were
when Trey Lance turned 21.
But what happened was it's not like he was a part of the circle. He just he's seen something. They went to the hotel or whatever, and they're like, "What up, guys?" And he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" You know what I mean? Like he was just, Trey just being Trey.
The way I read it was like Kittle and Trey are both going to Vegas to celebrate his 21st birthday. That's the way I heard it. But
not how
you got better information.
Trey's 21st birthday?
Yes, when he first got drafted.
I thought you were talking.
He got drafted at 20, and then he went in.
I thought you were talking about when Trey showed up at Kittle's birthday.
Oh no. So Kittle and Trey were supposed to show up together on celebrate his 21st birthday after he got drafted, and then so you would think that those two guys are close, and hang out. But then the tight end University happened, like what you're saying, Steve. And I didn't hear that he made it. I think you're right. I don't think he showed up, but Allen did.
And now, why would Trey Lance not want to show up and talk to Josh Allen? What up, Corey? I was sitting here going, man, where's Corey at? I even checked my phone to see if you were going live. You know what I mean? I was like, is he live on his channel? I was like, man, I'm missing where Corey's.
I was on John Jay.
Yeah, he was cheating
on John Jay today.
Oh.
Well, if you got to cheat, at least it's John Day, right? I mean, if you got to cheat.
Guess how many hours I did?
What's up?
Guess how many hours I did last night?
You were on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 hours.
Oh, man.
And Rudy showed up.
Yeah.
And, he was talking this mess. David got mad. David was like, I'm telling you, I gotta go. Bye.
Didn't Wolfcast come on too?
Yeah.
Wolfcast on there.
John Jay came back.
I got off. I was like, I'm just gonna go watch some YouTube videos and go to bed. And then I was up for longer than I thought. And I kept on seeing you guys then. I was like, oh damn. I watch my military documentaries before I go to bed.
Yeah.
That's right. I love watching that old World War II stuff.
That what?
Watching old World War I, World War II, Vietnam docs. Those are awesome, man. Those are awesome.
What up, Beto?
What's up, Beto?
From Niners Sickness Podcast.
I was wishing Beto would came on with me last night and had some things with Rudy.
Oh, last night? Yeah, Beto. He
Yeah.
really needed your help last night.
Except for I always thought he was a Niners fan talking stupid, and a lot of them are Rams fans. And then when I seen Rudy pop up on my timeline one day, I went to his chat and I was like, dude, half these guys, I always thought Niner fans are stupid. Half of them are Rams fans. I was like, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You jumped into Rombo's chat too, right? You go on Rombo.
Rombo's chat is toxic. I don't go in there because this chat is bad.
Well, that's how
Oh.
I'm a big Rombo supporter, but that's how I found out, like Jim Everett and Rudy, and I started seeing them come in all the time. And then after that, I started seeing them everywhere else, and I was just like, oh my God, you guys need to start your own channel or something. I mean, like, are there Rams channels out there? I mean, like, you guys are here every night. I mean,
And they say the same thing every night.
Hey,
Like, oh
that
my God.
you guys seen that? I was watching today in that Ramallah Sports Report guy.
Yeah, that's Rudy.
That's
who we
Rudy.
doing. My bro, that's Rudy.
He is just out there killing it on everybody's channel, just trolling.
That's
Now, he's
Rudy.
cool though. I go to his chat all the time and talk crap to him. He talks like 85% Niners anyways because he ain't got nothing to talk about.
yeah.
That-
He'll talk to you.
Well, if you want to talk about good football, you're not talking about Los Angeles Rams. You talk about 49er football.
well,
Oh,
that's what was said earlier, and
we have here.
Everybody's coming in now.
Hello, Beto.
Is that
What's up?
my guy, not the sickness?
What up?
Hey.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
see,
I have a
That's what
question for you.
Came in here to jump in and a little bit to talk a little bit. You guys talking about Rudy, Stinky Rudy?
Rudy.
Yeah, he came on my show last night. He was like, because I was about to end, and then he came on and he was talking mess. He got David McNair mad.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
I
see
said, where
Rudy.
am I
I
not
did
the sickness? I need
Rudy. He's an idiot.
You know what you need, Beto? That you need
I said,
like
where am I not the sickness at?
two little doll hands to go on your face when you do it. You know what I mean? To like really make it's a like a zoom in with the two little doll. You ever seen that lady does the stuff and she like pretends she's a little kid and she puts like this little doll hands on her fingers so it looks like
I'm taking
devil.
He's very passionate about his team, and I do think he's a secret 49er fan.
He's
Also, like telling him that
He's passionate,
I
but
also
not
like
bright, not too
telling him,
bright.
I like telling him that Super Bowl ring, the Rams Super Bowl ring, looks like an In-N-Out logo.
Hey, Beto, I have a trivia question for you.
What's up?
So when Tom Brady was a free agent and he said, you're choosing that mother effer over me, who's he talking about? Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr, Ryan Fitzpatrick,
I know this.
He's talking about
Bill
Jimmy G.
Bill Belichick, or
Talking
Beto
about Derek
Luna?
Carr.
Oh, Beto Luna.
All my questions are going to be Jimmy G related, just so you know.
Yeah. He definitely was talking about Jimmy G.
That's
No,
He was talking about Derek Carr.
what was the
They
question
come back
again?
out as Derek Carr.
Who was that mother effer Tom Brady was referencing?
Oh, Tom Brady. You
Yeah.
know what? For some reason, I heard Joe Montana. I don't know what. Tom Brady. My bad. Oh, so he was talking about Derek Carr, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dana
It's
White.
like, what, 2019 after we
Dana White
lost
confirmed
the
it.
Super Bowl?
Wow.
Yeah.
His ex-wife, right?
What if Giselle got in like a throuple with Derek Carr and his wife?
As long as she does it in a bikini, I'll be happy to
No,
watch.
just think about that.
That
He'd,
is
do
worse.
that, he'd have to that motherfucker twice.
Hey, we all thought it was Jimmy G.
Right?
Hey,
I
I'm not
totally
gonna be
thought.
I'm not taking credit for this. I'm not taking credit for this because I heard it from somebody else. But you guys think Antonio Brown had anything to do with Tom Brady and Giselle? You think there could have been something
No.
some kind of weird argument? The guy moved in there.
He would have posted it if that would have the case.
You guys think Jimmy G has a Patriot baby? You think Robert Kraft's girlfriend's baby's Jimmy G's?
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
I think that could be a reason he's not going back to the Patriots.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Jimmy's going to the Raiders, man.
No, but better.
I don't.
Robert Kraft had a baby, and they're trying to say it was.
He's going on the 91st dates or whatever that show's called or something like that.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
I know a friend that actually he wasn't on there, but he dated a girl, and then when she broke up, they're together.
Who were? Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think that's where he's going to go.
Well, I've never heard of him actually dating a lady. And then I think about how David Lombardi like totally gives me the feelings that he's either in a relationship with him or with anything to be in a relationship with them. And you know, I'm the only
talking about Dave.
Ever see Jimmy
Lombardi?
Yeah, I'm
he
telling
can't
you.
talk normal. He's always got to talk like this.
He did it.
I've been like, dude, why do you do that? You know, for clear, like, what's the deal? And he ended up blocking me. I was like, you blocked me once, dude. Grant's got you by like 40 times. But like, seriously, why do you talk and like, you know what I mean? Like, do you do that in person? It's weird to me.
Yeah, I made a video making fun of him, but it's all realism. Like he just like is so impartial to him, and then like I just only seen Jimmy on the date with the porn star, and with getting a picture with the hood.
Yep.
Is that bad?
You know
or
what I
good?
mean?
I don't know. I don't know. People talk crap like it's bad. I don't know. I think it's kind of good, but I don't know.
I saying is like,
Hey, real quick,
I was Jimmy.
Real quick, Ryan. T.O. used to say Jeff Garcia was gay.
It's not real quick when you say it 3 times.
So T.O. used to say that Jeff Garcia was gay, right? And then Jeff Garcia went and got a Playboy girlfriend. Playboy pinup.
What?
Yeah. When
Oh,
Jeff
yeah.
Garcia and T.O. was on the team, T.O. kept telling everybody in the locker room that Garcia was gay. And he's like, I'm not gay. I'm dating a Playboy bunny.
Okay.
Breaking news.
Then Jimmy did a Playboy bunny. All right. I'm just
I mean,
all
like,
I'm
it's not
saying
the
is,
biggest deal. You know, if you're dating a
and
porn star,
look,
it's
I
no
don't
one's
have any.
business.
I don't have
No.
anything against it. Like Jimmy, you could do whatever you want. I just want to know if you ship with David Lombardi. That's the only thing I care about. I want to know if he's being biased sorting. I don't care
He
what
can't even make his own
you
food.
know.
He can't even make his own food. Like, I don't watch him much. Like I'm a and I not that, there's no reason to dislike him. But I've been able to gamble on sports my whole life. So if you don't help me win money, then I don't really watch you. You know what I mean? Like Jackhammer, he's pretty solid in his. You know, he's not going to give you some BS. I don't watch him all the time, but you know, that's how I go about things on Lombardi. That he just gets so caught up in his spreadsheets that I can't even see. It's like, dude, make your mouse big so I can see what you're talking about. Like, these spreadsheets are going to help me make money.
Dude,
I mean, that's my thing with
Jack.
him.
Have you guys seen his
Jack-
girlfriend?
Yeah.
Who's friend?
He got married. David Lombardi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got married.
He doesn't even make Lombardi
mean he
doesn't even
does-
make his own food.
Trust me, he don't like Jimmy.
Sure? You sure it's not just a cover?
Well, not in the way you're indicating. No,
Because
as a player,
you know,
probably.
Mariah had a child.
I'm the worst
You know
one here.
what
I'm
I'm
a big fan of David Lombardi.
Oh, I thought
I'm
you
a
had
big
good
fan of him.
taste.
I do. I like to hear football.
That's right.
I don't want to hear
I
soap
was
opera
gonna.
shit. I want to hear just
Watch
the
it,
thing with
you know. I mean,
reporters. I don't want to hear their opinion. I want to hear the facts. Tell me the facts. I don't want to hear opinions. I don't want to hear like what you think about a situation.
because I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting old. The last 2 years, I've been falling asleep. I used to watch 2 games at a time.
But
I freaking fell asleep like the last couple of years during games that I got to I've been watching film this year. My first year of actually watching film, so I can bet because I've been my lazy ass, old ass, been falling asleep.
Beto, like, don't you remember with this spreadsheet? What, 2 seasons ago? Jimmy and Trey Lance camp was going. He purposely left off 2 interceptions because he decided that they weren't going to be counted. There was like holding penalty or something like that. When we know in practice, they don't give a damn whether there's a holding penalty going on. That gets called, but they play until the end of the play. It's not like the moment somebody gets held, they stop the play. I mean, and that they record like there was a when Trey Lance throws an interception, it would have been recorded as an interception. So then, like him, he behind, hey, I'm honest, but when he's been caught skewing the numbers towards somebody, to then to refer back as this is evidence when corrupted. You know what I mean? It's not.
This was
Not
2 years
factual.
ago.
Yeah,
I'm actually
I
kind of
just started
curious about that.
listening to him. I just started listening to him this year, so I don't go back. This is the early of the start of the off season. Anything behind, if I heard of that, I probably wouldn't like him either. But I
See, I'm kind of curious. I heard McNiner say that Brendel had like 10 penalties, and then I heard him say another time 12 penalties. So I went like, let me go see where this dude's ranked because I heard he wanted a raise and everything. And so that was kind of hard to find, but like PFF has him at as 12 penalties, like he said. But then I looked at like 2 other sites, and they're like, well, he had 10, but we're only giving him 8 because 2 of them were declined. So like I don't know where that whole how that I mean decline should not show up at all. But so 2 sites said like 8, and then PFF has at 12. So like I don't know how that works.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm a big fan.
I've been listening to David Lombardi for a while. Probably as long as I've been listening to Grant Cohn. I'd like to see their like COVID guys. Like everybody started getting big right then. Nobody could go anywhere. And those guys were like the only Niner content creators that was like really pumping stuff out. I'm always going to shout out Rombo and Nothing But Niners. Those guys have been doing it forever. But no, like David Lombardi and Grant Cohn, they get inside the locker room. So if you want to hear like what's going inside the locker room, you kind of have to listen to those guys. And sometimes they'll make you fall asleep. But you get a lot of good information out of them if you can hold up. So
yeah, but one of those guys will spin anything the way they can, and they'll spin it every way they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always
you try and fire
clicks.
Yeah, they try and trade somebody they'll trade every damn player. I guarantee you this offseason they're going to trade every damn player. You know what I mean? And make some kind of scenario out of it.
I don't know. I think Lombardi is less of that because he's more trying to get the golden press pass. You know what I mean? So he's waiting for the metered response to come from management before he writes anything. You know what I mean?
Well, I heard what's his face got
other people. What's up?
I heard what's his face SDS got credentialed.
SDS? What do you mean SDS?
Brad.
Yeah. What's his name?
Brad. Sourdough Squad.
Brad.
Brad Grant.
I like him too. I like him too. I watch him.
I don't know if he got credentials, but I know he keeps going on television. And the Niners, the locker room knows about him. They know directly of him, so I wouldn't be surprised.
But
he had that.
I know his credentials. And
he's
Steph,
another person that he's too much of a fan to be truthfully objective. I think the way he needs to be. You know what I mean? Like I think he's too. Well, like he wants to be their friends, okay? And if you want to be players' friends, then you can't ever be negative on them. You know what I mean?
You talking about Lombardi?
No, I'm talking about Brad. Like when
Oh.
you try to be too close to be their friends, like especially like every single one of them friends. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're just like, hey, I really like Tabor Pepper, and you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like Tabor Pepper, I want to get to know him. I don't really care about the other ones.
Well, it works out for him because Brandon Ayuk was so hard. Nobody can get Brandon Ayuk to do an interview. Not NFL Network, not ESPN, nobody. And guess who got him on to do an interview? Brad. So when you build a relationship like that, sometimes it benefits.
Well,
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm
most definitely, and I think
saying it doesn't come.
I think what Ryan, what you're saying is like, yeah, Brad is a fan. He's 100% fan. You look at him, he looks like Sourdough Sam, you know. So, and that's not a shot at him. You know, I got redhead kids too, you know. So, but for him to be critical, where you look at somebody like Grant, you know, well, he comes out and he tells you he's not a fan, so he's going to talk crap and he's going to spin it the way he wants to because he is there for clickbait, but he also makes you think. Well, maybe Lombardi's trying to tell you, you know, just the facts because he's just trying to be that reporter and not give you too much of an opinion if it's not coming from upper man, like you're saying. So it is hard, you know, because when you are a fan and you get that close to the locker room, the locker room wants to be publicized, you know, and they know how big his channel is, so they know if he goes on his channel. But with that's what brings me up to start talking is he interviewed Kinlaw, the Grant Cohn thing came out. He was friends.
Hey,
with
I
Kinlaw,
probably
you know, like
would.
we're gonna be friends, you know, and then you hear somebody else talking about him, then he's like, oh no, man. So it was, I mean, Luke Dogg is a great guy, but I don't see what he did with Grant was right at all, and I can't see justifying, you know, anybody into that.
So like I might be speaking differently if I had those connections too. You know, it's all different things, but what I'm talking about is like it's the objective when you're too busy trying to be everybody's friend. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not out there trying to be friends because I know at any time I might have an opinion that might hurt somebody's feelings because I'm not, you know, to pull punches for anything. I mean, like, they don't pay me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a fan of this team. It's in my best interest to point out problems to make the team better. That 6th Lombardi trophy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on the payroll for anything but Super Bowl wins.
Yeah, I watched the game because I played wide receiver and cornerback, so that's how I kind of watched the game. So I don't know anything about trenches, you know what I mean? So everybody breaks down the all 22, you know. So I'll go to his page just to check that out because, you know what I mean? Like, I learned a lot on Pat McAfee too, as far as the schemes, how Kyle Shanahan, you know, schemes against what the defense is supposed to do. But so I'll go to Brad for that. But I mean, that's getting really technical. That's not going to help me win any money. But
Yeah. If you were going to get into one got a good O-line's got a crap O-line and nobody else could see the difference, I guess you could make some money there. But yeah, it would be some crazy stuff. About to say, Corey?
Yeah, I agree. I'm hearing what you're saying that, you know, it's hard when you criticize somebody when you're their friend. So they don't want to hear it. They don't get a criticism. They're not going to hear it. They're going to be mad at you.
what do you think, Jay Steele?
You hear it from your friend.
I was sitting there thinking earlier we were kind of talking about basically just buying a team, and every time I think about that, like I think about the Yankees, I think about a few other teams, that just go out there and let's spend that money. Let's just spend that money, get that ring, and then figure it out next year. And I say that because it's almost like that right now. It's either between that or let's give Trey 17 games to figure it out. and I don't know where I'm at between the two of them. You know what I mean? Like, I want Trey to get his chance. I think Trey could be something, or it could be nothing. I don't know. They're all like that. You get a first round and think it's going to be somebody, and it's a bust. I don't know. But
Look at
I'm
Zach
not sure. Well, there you go.
Quarterback go to die in the Jets, though.
Yeah, and that's just that situation over there is just toxic. You know.
Jets, Chicago. That's where quarterback died.
Yeah, I was pretty sad to
But
see Justin Fields go to Chicago.
Spend all this money. We just spend a bunch of money and try to get everybody. You know, like back in these. You know, Deion Sanders.
Right back, guys.
Everybody up for a year, go win a ring, and then go figure it out. I don't think we're there. I don't think we're like that. I think we're a long haul. This is who we are. We're competitive every year. We're going to try to get it every year, but I don't know. I just got a problem with that. I mean, look at what the Eagles got all kinds of free agents. They got all kinds of cap hit. You know, Rams are over. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know where that fine. I think it's always that fine line of trying to pick up talent, win a chip, but also like build where you're competitive. See, what do we want? Do we want a chip, or do we want to compete for 3-4 years? I mean, you know, you can't have both. I mean, you can, but in all actuality, you can't develop, you know, players for 2 or 3 years and keep expecting to, like, you're always going to be in the competition every year.
I mean, we're pretty lucky. We got a lot of
what they're saying here.
We got a lot of, you know, Lenore. You know, he's on a rookie contract. Banks. We got a lot of guys that are, you know, aren't that big a cap space. So we could, and we should have already done it. We could get one next year and, like, you know, be pretty well off the next couple of years.
I'm okay with where we're at.
Hold on. Sorry.
Hey, so can you vape on screen or not?
Right.
Are you allowed to vape on screen? Because I heard somebody say you couldn't smoke on YouTube, but I see AJ Hawk doing it and JB Brown, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you can. I don't see why not.
I hit my weed pen all the time.
I'm going to do the Mike McDaniels, all right?
Yeah. Like, I just blow it down. It's hard to see. Like,
He covered it. It's covered. It's covered.
Yeah, just
I probably
keep it all polite. Even
probably
though it's a football channel,
saying what it is
it's a mature channel.
might get me in trouble.
Oh, everybody knows what it is. Everybody thought you were frozen earlier, but I knew what was going on.
The reason I'm saying that about buying a team and just spending money is because it really just goes. But the reason I say that is because I really don't think 49ers fans, maybe including myself, have the patience to wait a year or two, because like we talked about earlier, are some of these players, Trent Williams, Kittle, I mean, even IU, you know, Debo, are these people going to get traded? You know, like, I understand the window, but I also understand just players. The window is the player, right? We have a window because we have badass players and we got weapons, right? And once those weapons leave or retire or wear out a little bit, where are we at? And so I think that's kind of where the problem is with Trey. I think most people would be all right with Trey starting, but don't necessarily want to wait a year, 2 years like a Jalen Hurts. Not to say Jalen Hurts, but hey, look what he's doing. I mean, he could be a bust next year. I don't think so, but you know.
It seems
That's
like we
what's
keep
solid.
bringing people on the team, though. You know what I mean? It seems like we keep bringing people on the team, and if we, you know, I just wish we would structure people right, so where they're not necessarily so backloaded. We could pay somebody to keep them on our team. You know, like we draft them. You know, they get 4 or 5 years with us. give him a 3 contract. We get 2, maybe 3 of the years, and then we can trade him after that. I mean, without having 3/4 of the contract be that last year, that's, and then because we develop well, we draft well. Like if we had this revolving door of get a good rookie, give him his bag, then send him on his way, that once in every position, every 5, 6, we should be good.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
It's easier said than
that's
done,
not
though.
good for team morale because you draft to try and get a Nick Bosa, and then when you finally get him, you're gonna give him a contract and then trade him. The whole idea is to get a top guy. So I mean, all the other players are like, well, you did that to him. You're gonna do that
After
to Jimmy
7
Ward.
years.
Yeah, nobody was going to want to come
After
to the
7
Niners
years?
in that case.
Yeah, but that's the
7, 8
kind of
years?
vibes that they give. That's the vibes that they did with Buckner. We don't want to keep eating that. We build a core. And
What's
that
the
core,
average NFL career?
But Buckner chose to leave. They didn't get rid of him.
But that's the whole thing. You build a core, right? We had Armstead, we had Buckner, right? We had Jimmy Ward. This was our core. Then we started adding to that. We went through multiple coaches. We get a coach, we stick with him, and then we start developing that core. And now what? We're going to let people go because they're too old. And I get it. You want young people, you want good talent, but exactly that. You don't want your team to be like, oh, just as soon as I get to a certain point, they're going to get rid of me. Then that's when those players stop trying. And
Well, they got rid of him because he wanted too much money. If you're referring to Buckner, he wanted 20 plus, and he wasn't worth it. In my opinion.
So I think we talked about this before, Beto. Buckner went out looking for a deal. He went to the Colts. They offered him this. He come back to us. He said, hey, they offered me this. They said, well, go. The Niners didn't even go and offer him. They didn't even try to offer him. That's why he left. He said if they would have matched it, or if they would have came close
that's right. They couldn't, because they had a bracket of what they wanted to pay their D linemen. And let's be honest, Buckner is good, but he's not a game changer. He's not changing the Colts defense for nothing over there. He's not a AD caliber of D tackle to pay him that amount of money. Now, if you guys or anybody loves Brandon, who here likes Brandon Ayuk? Now understand this: without Buckner's trade, he's not on this roster.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
Now what's the name didn't work out? Javon Kinlaw didn't work out because of his knee. But if he would have worked out, and then we traded we went back in and got Ayuk again. Without that trade, Ayuk's not on here. So
and Brandon Ayuk, I think would be worth the Buckner trade. Wouldn't you say?
I would think.
Nobody will give him credit because it's a different position.
I just wish Kinlaw would have worked out. If Kinlaw would have been at least half decent or available, it wouldn't have been such a bad trade. The fact that we're filling the absence of Buckner is because Kinlaw couldn't come in and take that spot at all. To me, he's a better run stopper, but if you're not able to be on the field, you're pretty much worthless to a team. And he can't stay on the field because of his knees. Now, the Niners should have did better decision making on taking someone with the bad knees. Everybody warned the Niners, but they, for some reason, thought that he'll be fine, and he hasn't. Now, Ayuk is great. I love Ayuk, but I think we filled the Buckner absence a lot because of Kinlaw. But I guarantee you, we had Kinlaw doing half of what Buckner did, and Ayuk, we wouldn't even be talking about Buckner. The fact that Kinlaw ain't doing shit, this is why that topic hurts.
And that's what's so painful, because we don't need Kinlaw. I don't need from him. I don't need 3 sacks. I even need 1 sack from Kinlaw. You know what I need? I need a run stuffer.
But I need you on the field.
Just hold you.
Well, yeah. I need you on the field to stuff the run, and I need man to double team in pass protection. When
he can
passing,
do,
I need you to
big body wise.
Yeah.
Although he got pushed in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, he got pushed in the playoffs by a littler guy too, right? Right. But he's
you can't. And I think that ties to his knees. He can't press his legs down and grit on the ground because his knee problems, and that guy just tossed him.
And he's very tall too. So having knee problems and being tall and having to get down and get low and be left is not a recipe for success. Let's just be honest.
Bro, I like
the taller you are, that'll
Nathan.
bend.
I like what Nathan said. They should have kept. We need someone like DJ Jones. See, that one hurts more. I wish we would have kept DJ Jones. I understand the contract.
Yeah.
And they were believing the Buckner would step up, but
there's not many guys in the that are a DJ Jones. Like, you don't have a big solid guy like that has the wheels like he does.
We might have him on the roster now if he works out
might.
Kalia Davis.
We might.
But
yes.
That's a if.
That's a if.
You know what sucks? The worst part is Buckner was part of that 33-point comeback.
Yeah, he was. But that was more. That was more of who was the team that were playing? Their offense couldn't score shit, bro. That was. I mean, I'm not trying to take it away from the. I can't take it away from the Colts. Oh, it was Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
It was Minnesota. They couldn't score nothing in the first half, and then the defense collapsed. But I mean, I'm sorry. I meant to say that offense of the Colts could not score if their lives depended on it, and just allow them to come back in. Because I think they had it like at the 2-yard line, and they couldn't punch it in. They turned it over on downs. Colts did on offense. So
I have a question real quick. I don't know the answer. So Jay Steele was talking about people buying championships like the Yankees and everything. So what do you get when you go all in and you win a championship? Do you get like 50 million or like what do you get to recoup when you know what I mean, when you spend all this money?
We did that in 94. Oh. We did that in 94. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you get?
You get a trophy. So if you get it.
He's talking. No. So what happens is usually you get more people buy your stuff, and then essentially the sale price of the team can go up.
You mean once you win a championship?
Yeah. Well, once more you win championships, because like the more you're up at the top as far as one of those franchises, that's
the marketing favors you. Everything's being marketed by your team.
Yeah.
Even your players that suck at commercials are making commercials. Look at Baker Mayfield.
You're going to get fans that like a certain player that are going to start buying their jersey in every state all around the United States. You know what I mean? Instead of just in your one area. So there's a whole bunch of things that come, like Jerry, like the Cowboys, for not winning anything. They do a lot in jersey sales and all that type of stuff, just like the 49ers. You know what I mean? Our two teams and our, they're very similar in certain respects.
But you don't get any money?
No, you don't get any extra money. No, you get that trophy. In fact, the players
you may get revenue from marketing if you have if you have contracts with certain vendors.
The players themselves, though, everyone's contract broken down a little different, but the player and the teams and stuff, when they win a playoff game, they get they get a bonus. They win the next playoff game, they get a bigger bonus. You win the Super Bowl, you get so much money. But if you lose the Super Bowl,
if you're the MVP, you go to Disneyland.
But I'm talking about
the team itself. But I also want to point out that the players get paid like $100,000 a game. It's like nothing.
But they start going. They start going on the night shows of, next year, like what's his name, the quarterback they just won, Patrick Mahomes. Next year, you start seeing him on night shows and
he was walking pretty good too.
Oh yeah, he was.
And endorsement deals.
Endorsement. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
This is the other thing, if I remember correctly. After the Seahawks won, the Microsoft Space or the Microsoft tablets. They use the Seahawks in the commercial for that. So
yeah,
you know what I mean. Your team might even get branding deals.
But at the end of the day, as an owner, it is bragging rights. It is about your team being the best out of 32 teams. Because there's only one team that can stand tall at the end of the year or season, is whoever wins the Super Bowl, like Kansas City.
Question.
Yeah, Corey. What's up?
En español,
Did
Jorge. En
Matthew
español.
Stafford?
Simón.
Did Matthew Stafford ever get commercials when he playing with Detroit, like he got now with the Rams?
No.
Oh, I'm
Did he ever
sure.
do
Perfect. That's a
commercials
perfect example there, Corey.
when he was playing with Detroit?
I'm sure locally.
We
I'm
know
sure
that's
And for a
locally.
long
that's a
time,
good point.
for a long time,
But it's not
Matthew
like-
Stafford and his family, they
Unless
love
he was on
Detroit.
YouTube getting hit a lot in Detroit. You saw a lot
But
of that.
something happened with their relationship in Detroit, and his wife blasted Detroit before they left. So they're in favor of them anymore. So I don't know if they got any big contracts, but I know when he was playing before he broke his back, when he had Megatron and stuff, Matthew Stafford was the franchise. He was the face of Detroit there for a while. So I imagine he did get some like Jimmy got a Subway commercial, right? So I imagine
Eli
Stafford got-
Manning got like Citizen Watch. You know, remember he was
Yep.
like doing watch commercials.
Yep.
He was, yeah. So
Peyton Manning,
You
Not
know,
Papa
the Joe
John's,
Montana,
right?
the Joe Montana,
Not
the
to-
Steve Youngs, they did the same thing. It just there was no social media, so you didn't see much of it. It wasn't publicized as much as it is today. So you know, they were on TV. It's just that's the only place you could see them is on ESPN. You know what I mean? There was no NFL Network. There was no YouTube for these guys. You know what? I like that trade between the Rams and the Lions for the particularly for the Lions. People need to start looking out for these Lions, man. These Lions, I know people make fun of them and start, you know, the old same old Lions, but this Lions team, with even a quarterback, what's his name? They came from the Rams. Golf. He's playing pretty good, man. They got something going. I love Dan
he almost
Campbell's
lost the
attitude.
Pro Bowl for us.
Yeah, I know. You know what he said? They asked him about the combine. He says, "I don't care about 40s.
Yeah.
I don't care about weightlifting. All I care about is the film. The film will tell you what the player's about." And I love that attitude. You know what I mean? Watch out for the.
But it's so true.
They might win the North next season.
I have a feeling they will.
I want to talk about that. Like, who do you think? I mean, because we keep talking about the Eagles, but they're going to lose a lot in free agency, cap hit, whatever's going on. They
Coaching
can't pay a
staff's
lot.
already gone. Their coordinators.
Right.
Both sides, yeah.
Hey, don't. I'm tired of them poking us all the time, so that's good for them. Whatever, but that's what I want. You know, like think about Seattle. Geno Smith, he looked good. He looked good.
Real
you know,
good.
and I know everybody's like, okay, and see that's the thing. We always keep talking about, okay, look, we've already passed Philadelphia. We're not even talking about that anymore. If we need to win, we need to beat Mahomes, and I get that, and I understand that. But that's over there on the NFC. We need to still worry about the NFC. You know, and I understand that there's not, the Giants. They looked all right. You know, but there are some teams that are coming through right now that we shouldn't sleep on. And I think the Lions are one of them, you know.
Yep.
And that's what I wanted to also ask you guys about. Like, you know, I don't think it's unfortunate, but sometimes like it is that kind of idea that we think we're champions already and we don't really need to worry about anybody and we got this, you know. But the fact is I think some of these other teams that are in, quote, rebuild, not rebuild, doing whatever, are still a threat and not to be slept on. And I just kind of, what do you guys think about that? Like, we're talking about Detroit. We're talking about a few other teams. Like, I don't think Philadelphia is the only team we need to necessarily worry about, but also not, like, sleep on.
Yeah. Personally, myself,
All right, I want to.
You got to work. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, like, that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. It's like it doesn't matter what we have to do. It's been 28, 29 years. You know, let's quit saying we got five Super Bowls. 7 appearances. I don't think anybody says we have 7 appearances. I don't think we like saying that. But we got 5 championships, right? Let's just win 1 championship, and let's quit acting like we're 5-time Super Bowl champions because that happened 30 years ago. Let's win a Super now, not tomorrow, now, like, let's win it now. Like, let's start the season today. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only way we're gonna get through it.
you can talk about your
said it.
championships if you want, in a sense of accomplishments, but not. You can't pound your chest anymore on those championships. They're so old. You know you can reference to them as my team has won 5. Nothing wrong with that, but you're right. You don't want to sit there and go, wow, at least my team won 5. If you're not relevant, it doesn't mean shit. You got to be relevant. You got to be in the dance. In order to make it to Super Bowl, you got to be knocking on the door. I know a lot of people criticize Kyle. They don't like Kyle. I don't understand why. He came in 2017 and totally blew up the roster and rebuild it from scratch. People compare him to Harbaugh. Harbaugh took over a very good team that wasn't managed correctly by the previous coaches and got what he got. Kyle came in and completely blew up the team and brought in everybody and built it from the floor up. And he got us to 3 championships and a Super Bowl appearance. Now, that's not for us to be content and say that's good. No, we want a Super Bowl. That's at the ultimate goal, but you can't dismiss getting you to 3 NFC championships and a Super Bowl appearance in 5 years or 6 years that he's been here. That's a huge accomplishment. Look at the Cowboys. They haven't smelled an NFC championship game now in 28 years. You got the Detroit Lions that haven't been to the NFC championship game. So I'm not saying that's the complete prize. The Super Bowl is, and don't settle, but you also have to recognize that Kyle got us there. And if you get there, we've been there, twice, back to back? Maybe the third time's a charm. And we should have won this one. I don't care what people say. I looked at that game with the Eagles. Our defense controlled that offense. They just started gassing out because our offense couldn't do shit. But if we would have kept Brock Purdy healthy and Kyle would have dialed up some schemes for him, that game would have been won. Now, I'm not going to say nothing about the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a whole different conversation. But that Eagles game definitely would have been won by the Niners because the defense would have stopped. Well, they did stop that offense, but they got gassed out because it was a 3-and-out on our offense. 3-and-out. So, the defense got tired. If the defense would have been resting because we would have had, 15, 20 drives, our defense would have taken care of business. So these Eagle fans that are all pumping their chest to beat our ass, I mean, if you consider beating a handicapped kid, something to be proud of, because that's where we were without our quarterback. We had a running back for God's sakes as a freaking quarterback. Yeah. So, I mean, you're gonna pump your chest. Yeah. I tell Eagle fans, shut up.
Time asked me on the show I had with him the other day. He says, "How is it like to, he wasn't being patronizing, but how does it feel like to lose in the NFC Championship twice?" And I said, "Great question." I said, "It only feels like once." I said, because this last game, it feels like it almost didn't happen because it wasn't. I told him, I said, it felt like we were robbed. So how can you really, you can't get over something you felt like didn't even take place almost. Like it wasn't settled. It wasn't finished in the right way. So therefore you can't even tally it. You know what I mean? To me, it's like
4 plays in, the quarterback's out.
Yeah.
It was ruined even before it started. I mean, he only had 4 plays and he went out. And we knew Johnson is not going to do nothing. So even if Johnson would have played the whole game, we still would have not won with him.
Yeah, we were going to need a lot of yak. We were going to need.
This is where I'm pissed off of this is where I hate the Rams, because they took Bakerfield deliberately so that we wouldn't get him. Because I guarantee you, if Brock would have got hurt, we would have got further with Baker Mayfield than we ever did with Johnson in that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could say we stole CMC from them too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
what were they going to do?
I think.
well, he wanted to come to the Niners. He was choosing where he wanted to go. So,
but if you think about the Niners and Rams at that point, it was about trades. But the Niners and Rams were side by side. The Niners were able to offer more. In taking Baker Mayfield, the Niners had no chance to compete in that because the Niners were in the bottom of the poll, and the Rams were the third or fourth one up on top. So I felt that one is a steal because the Niners didn't have a chance. Now the Rams would have had their 5th round pick. They could have competed with us for CMC. It's not our fault there, but in this case, what chance did we have? We were 28. They were 4th. There's no way they were going to compete with the Rams.
I also feel
And they
like,
didn't need them. Let's be honest. They already had a losing season. What's the purpose
yeah, that's what I
other
was
than
gonna say.
taking them away from the Niners?
Yeah, I don't-
I mean,
There is one purpose. Just in case Matthew Stafford is more injured than reported, and he ends up retiring, you've already got Baker Mayfield in the room. You got to kick the tire on him. You now
He's a free agent.
No, I know, but you got him in the room. You were able to see what he was,
What he can
got
do?
to see, yeah, what he could do, what he could do on your team. You know what I mean? So now that's one box you can either check a yes or a no. You know what I mean? To me, it that would be a good decision. You know what I mean? Unless you're, depends on how much did they give up for him? Did they even give up any capital for
No,
him?
because he was
the
cut.
waiver wire.
Because he was
Waiver-
cut. Yeah, he was on the
It was
waiver
just
wire.
a waiver wire pick.
I just
yeah.
couldn't remember if they had to like
No, they'd have
it
to
was
give
it.
nothing other than the position in the waiver wire.
Yeah, so yeah,
And he
that's
didn't
perfectly
benefit.
fine.
He didn't benefit their team. The only thing he did was they blocked him from coming to us. He may or may not have come to us, but they made sure by him. And he won one game for him. I don't know. I think he probably would have done better with us, even holding the clipboard. So
So getting back to Detroit, I asked Ryan and everybody yesterday who they thought was going to move up to the number 1 pick, and I said Detroit. And then today, the coach and everybody's talking about a quarterback and everything. So like, who do you guys, Corey and everybody, who do you guys think is going to get the number 1 pick?
Ooh, it's interesting. I don't even know what the. Let me see here. 2020.
I know that
So-
number 1 right now, so they would have
Yeah,
to
but
trade
they're
it
gonna.
out.
They don't
They-
need
They
Chicago.
said they're going to trade out.
Yeah, they need to trade out. Chicago needs a lot of picks. That team has nobody on our roster worth shit, so they need picks. They'll be dumb to take another quarterback and try to. They'll have more picks if they trade that spot than they do if they try to trade Fields. They're not going to get that many picks for Fields, but they will get a shitload of picks for that number 1 pick, especially with the quarterbacks there. Everybody's going after that kid from Alabama. I don't think he's even going to be that good.
Who?
The
Oh,
kid from Alabama.
the
Can't think-
little one.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Who's moving up to the number 1?
I'm trying to look at who's up here. Oh, one they can move to number 1 could be the Texans, or the Colts can really move up.
Well, the Texans are 2, aren't they?
Yeah, but if they're afraid that somebody's going to go above them, if they're looking for a quarterback, because they're looking for a quarterback. So let's say they want the quarterback from Alabama. If they stay at 2, they're taking the risk that somebody's going to jump to 1.
There's
Look at the
also-
Bears with us when we took Solomon Thomas. We were 3, they were 2, and they moved. I mean, we were 2, they were 3. They moved 1 spot up with us, gave us 2 extra picks just to move 1 spot because they didn't want nobody to leapfrog them. That could
'cause
happen.
we took a look at Trubinsky, and they were scared we were going to take Trubinsky.
And they still took the risky like idiots. But the Colts could be one. Seahawks need a quarterback because Seahawks.
Yeah.
If they
They
get,
mentioned,
well,
I know they have Geno, but
I see
is he
the
really the
Seahawks getting
future?
a quarterback later.
okay. So
'Cause they do have
the
Geno.
Colts need one, and the Houston needs one. So we'll see what they do. But if you ask me, those are the 2 teams.
Also, there's a guy.
Detroit
a
has.
There's a
Why would Detroit
quarterback
go
I
to
heard-
number 1? Just curious. Why? They have a quarterback. They have running back. They have receivers. I'm just out of curiosity. Why would Detroit? Not that you guys are saying
I
they
would-
will, but why would
I wouldn't
Detroit?
have
What does
cared.
Detroit benefit to go number 1 and give up picks?
Only if you're getting a quarterback. But
And
There's
they're
a-
picking at 6, so they'll get a good.
there's a guy
pass
that's
rusher.
been moving up in the quarterback rankings. I think his last name starts with, is it Richardson or Richards or something like that? I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah.
Allen.
You know who can move up? Actually, the Las
What's
Vegas
the-
Raiders. Keep an eye
what's
on
that-
them.
What's that guy's name who's been moving up?
Richardson. You said it right.
His name. What's his first name?
Oh shit.
All I know is
Yeah.
he's been doing
You
really
gotta go
good in
there?
he's been doing really good in the interviews.
Yeah, he's been moving up.
Yep. Because everybody's been talking about how great he's been in the interviews. They give him like a package and they go, "What do you see here? If we're running this, what are you doing here?" You know what I mean? Concept. They're just, in 15 minutes they're just giving a whole bunch of pictures of stuff, past plays of his, stuff like that. And they're going, "What do you see here? What would you have done better?" All this stuff. And they're like, this guy's really good. And so is the one from Alabama that everybody's talking about, the little guy. So those are going to be, I'm thinking, the top
Bryce
two
Young
guys.
is the kid from Alabama.
Yep, Bryce Young.
And then they have C.J. Stroud from Ohio. I don't know about Ohio, man. Ohio can produce pretty good running backs, but quarterback is like USC. They can't produce quarterbacks that their life depend on. Anthony Richardson from Florida is the one you're talking about.
Yes,
Ryan.
Yes, Florida Gator.
Yeah, those are the guys that
Shout
he's
out
been
to
moving
Nathan.
up.
What do you guys think about the tight end situation?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Tight
What do
end
you guys
situation.
Situation.
Comment.
Like, should we go and try to? I think we're going to draft at least somebody probably in the 4th or 5th. But what do you guys think about getting a second tight end that's almost ready to be a starter behind Kittle?
Don't be surprised if we take that kid from Clemson. We don't have a fourth round pick, by the way. We have 3 threes, and then we go to the 5th.
It's okay, right?
But the kid from Clemson, they actually interviewed him at the combine today. The Niners did. He's a great pass catcher, great blocker, and he idolizes Kittle. Kittle's one that inspires him. So I'm trying to figure out his name, see if I can bring it up when you guys.
Is that the Sao Paulo?
Good
There's
night.
one that I always. There's always one I see in the 3rd round. Well, not always. He's like every other draft. He's in the 3rd round at 99, and I usually pick him because he's a run blocker. You know what I mean? He's a run blocker, and he's a pass catcher. And I'm like, this is a guy I want in here. Imagine we got our 21 personnel. Imagine a 22 personnel.
That'll be nice.
You know what I mean? If you got a 21 and a 22 personnel.
Davis Allen, tight end from Clemson. David, keep an eye on that name.
I'll have
Davis
to
Allen.
take a look at him. Davis Allen. Hold on, let me write it down.
You know what's funny is, like, I know, I think Jordan Reed kind of set us behind the 8 ball the last couple of years because he was supposed to, he kind of retired early on us, and I think we thought we would have 2 more years to develop, our tight ends, and obviously that didn't happen. And this is first year I'm watching film, so every week you see a tight end blocking, the D end. But if Purdy made that throw, nobody's talking about wanting a tight end. You know what I mean? Because Ayuk was open, that was a touch. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if that's really the case because ever since we had Jordan Reed, we've been asking for it. We've been wanting especially in the red zone. In the red zone, you're talking about like 4th, like 3rd and goal from the 5, 2nd and goal from the 5, like the 22 personnel and having 2 guys that can block, you know what I mean, or can go out for catch. It's just gonna screw with people's heads.
Yeah,
Like a
Kyle's
defensive
been
coordinator.
wanting to get 2 tight ends.
Because Kittle's never been that red zone threat.
He hasn't been
I don't know if
used in
it's
that way.
not that. Yeah, I was going to say that because, like, if you see him, he gets big yards in the middle of the field, then he runs down there, and then we try to throw the ball to somebody else, or
run it in.
And I just don't think, like, for me, like, why would you let Jordan Mason run all the way down there and then not let him score? It's like it's kind of the same thing what they do with Gore in the Super Bowl. He ran the ball all the way down there, and you don't try him. So, like, I don't know. Just like
broke my heart when he got
Jordan
it.
Reed was good, and I think he was probably like Kittle good too. Maybe just a notch underneath him.
Oh,
But we have to have somebody who can block and catch. And
we lost Jay
You
Steele.
just noticed?
Yeah.
You guys
Thanks for-
messed me up. Moving spot on the screen.
Thanks for joining us, Jay Still.
So who do you guys?
There's
so who-
a tight end that the Niners tried to get a couple years ago. Let's see if I can find his name. But he got signed. He went for more money. He's not on here. That's weird. But I forget. He came from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know. Forgot where he went. But Kyle wanted him, and they made a push for him in free agency. But he took more money he came from Cleveland. Sorry. Trying to think of his name. But Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins is another one that is pretty good in free agency if they decide to go that route.
That's the one that Dolphins fans were talking about. That was their Kittle.
Yeah, because he blocks very well and he's a great pass catcher. Can you imagine, having a 22 personnel with both Kittle and a Gesicki or a good tight end like Kittle? I mean,
We'll see.
Imagine the defensive coordinators what they have to plan for.
Well, then it could then he could actually run like a jumbo without having it to be an extra lineman. You know what I mean? And if you guys don't know, I'm really big on the jumbo formation.
No shit. Me too.
Like I just like, especially the first half of the ball game. All I want to do is run the ball down your throat as violently as possible.
Dang,
with as
bro.
big, heavy,
You need
big,
counseling,
heavy guys as I can.
Ryan. Did you get bullied as a kid?
No, I was the bully.
Oh shit, that's even worse.
And
Where'd you grow up?
well,
What would you even say that out loud,
Well,
bro?
East Bay area.
You're gonna get
Concord.
canceled.
Yeah. There
and
goes
then I
your
moved-
channel.
Then I moved up to Washington during, let's see, what grade was it? 6th grade? I think it was 6th grade. Might have been 7th grade. But yeah, and then so now I'm going into a junior high where I don't know anybody, and I'm the youngest class in there. Yeah, you know what I mean? I got kind of picked on a little bit because I don't know anybody. Nobody knows anything of me, and it's like you go to mess with one of them and they all mess with you. So it was like you're screwed. Just deal with it.
Interesting.
Control that anger, Ryan. Control that anger, bro.
But still, when it comes to football, hit him in the damn face, bruh.
Take him out from the kneecaps, like Dan Campbell said when he first got introduced as a
I don't even
Lions
care.
fan.
I think those are both.
That's fair. I was gonna say that too. Beto kick him in the kneecaps. I mean, let him run, right? You know.
Yep.
Hey, so who do you guys think is going to take that number one pick? I need some answers.
What team's gonna go up there?
I think it's Colts.
Close from
Colts or the
4
Raiders. Raiders have money, and they have.
Yeah, but those guys
capital.
are already going to get a good quarterback if they don't move up. You know, and they're only moving up like 3-4 spots to give up an extra couple threes. I mean, you guys give me your answer. I just
From
don't-
six,
I
from
don't-
6 to 1, they're going to give up at least a third, fourth, and a fifth. Yeah, that's a lot. Wow.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
If the guy you want is there, then you got to do what you got to do.
The
Yep.
so
This
the
last-
owner has said he wants Young or whatever
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young, yes,
What
He
owner?
says he
For
wants
the
him.
Colts?
for the Colts, yes. And then he also acknowledged that his GM wasn't. That's not type the moves that his GM makes.
Yeah, the Colts
But-
normally move down, not up
Yeah,
in
but
history.
but the
but-
owner is kind of like
Well, at the end of the day, bro,
Owner's
you're the
getting old.
owner. You're getting what you want.
well, and they've tried this old. Let's get the guy at the end of his career for a deal,
Hey.
and let's make that.
Yeah,
work,
they got to
and it
stop that
hasn't.
shit.
Hey, what was that story that Ursay was in the bathroom for like 45 hour and a half? That's why McDaniel reneged on the coaching job.
Oh,
He was in the bathroom.
was it McDaniel or was there
Oh,
another guy?
shit.
It was the guy in the Raiders. I get McDaniel and McDaniel's confused all the time.
Yeah,
Oh,
Josh McDaniel.
Josh
You said it
McDaniel.
right.
Ursay was in his bathroom for like an hour and a half or some crap, and that's why he reneged on the deal because felt it was weird or something like that.
Well, he likes to do his Coke.
Hey,
Yeah.
whatever's clever, bro. Like, as long as you keep that plane up and running nicely. And
Or he had
make
alcohol
sure-
issues, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. The guy, come on. The guy.
Or maybe he was like
parties
Jerry
a rock
Jones with
star.
a young blonde.
Jerry Jones is trouble.
Jerry Jones
man.
got caught with his penis in his hand.
So who you guys picking?
That's the Colts.
I say
Colts
Raiders.
4-1. Raiders from what, 6 or 7-1?
I think
Seven.
I think Raiders are gonna try and complete the pair and try and get Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams back together again.
But they just gave up all their picks to get Devontae Adams. So what do they have to give up?
Yeah, true that.
All the future picks.
New England's like, give me all your picks.
You can only go through 3 years out. I don't remember what they gave up for
3 years
Devontae.
on first rounds. You can only go up 3 years out. Yeah,
And I'm sure they got two twos for Adams. I can't remember.
but I don't think they give him one for Adams though. That's the crazy part. They gave only 2s, if I'm not mistaken.
What's
It
up,
wasn't a-
everybody?
What up?
Hey, but anyway,
He got Jay.
I've been on 2 shows all the freaking day, man. So I am pooped. I'm gonna step out. You guys have been fun, man. I gotta do this more often. You do this every Friday?
Yeah. Every Friday.
Wow, really?
Cool. All right, guys.
Yeah. Hit me up.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace.
So who's your pick, Corey? Where they're looking in the background?
Um, I'm still thinking Chicago's gonna stay right where they at.
Well, it's been rumored that they're basically going to keep Fields, so they're backing out of that. So, and why, you know, I don't see why they wouldn't.
What's up?
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
they're basically they're backing out of that position, you know, because they're going to keep Fields. So they're like, hey, come get it. So,
I've heard some people talk about, hey, trade Fields, get 2 picks for him. Use your first on Bryce Young, and then use everything you got from Justin Fields to make Bryce Young have a better offensive line and wide receiver core. Which I strategically don't think that that's such a bad idea. Strategically, if you're just looking at numbers, yeah, it sounds like a better deal. But when one in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And so I don't see you just starting all over again when you've got a quarterback that can obviously run for 1,000 yards in a season. You could just give him some wide receivers who he could work with. He might be able to throw for 1,000 yards or more.
no, 2 hands in 1 bush. So.
What's up?
So normally I have 2 hands in 1 bush.
Yeah.
Who's your pick, Brian?
Well, I don't really see anybody really having to move up. I could be wrong, but I would make the Bears eat it. You know, I mean, at this point, you know, what are they going to do? Draft another quarterback? No. You know, so if they have to eat that first round pick, that makes them really desperate. And they're
That's
going
why I
to
don't think it's going to be worth much.
Yeah, I don't think this is like what we traded up to get Trey Lance, or you know, they're not gonna get that. No one has to get desperate. You know, the Texans, they're probably gonna get their quarterback. I guess if anybody's gonna move up, it would be the Colts. But if they play their cards right, they'll get Bryce Young. So I just want us to move up and get Jake Moody. That's all.
We don't need to move up to get that guy.
And if he's gone
I will.
the fifth round,
I will
if he's
put
gone
you
the
in
fifth round, I will
timeout.
come on and I'll tell you we should have used our third top pick for him.
Look, I think we'll know. I think we'll know if we'll need him or not before the draft. So
yeah, and I don't think we're not signing Robbie. I think Robbie's coming back. I just keep throwing it out there to be funny, but we're gonna have to get younger eventually there. So.
I think whatever the teams do in the free agency is what they gonna handle the draft. Like if they like so many coaches that mean teams need quarterbacks, you might get a quarterback in the free agency, and they're not looking in the draft to get one.
Watch there be like 4 7th-round quarterbacks.
Well, see, that's a good point. That's a really good point because wouldn't it be cheaper for the league, to draft a 7th-round quarterback compared to paying that money for a first-round quarterback? You're all like, the next couple of years they're gonna have that quarterback really cheap, and he could be good. Maybe like what Brian was saying, and I was saying earlier, maybe we get to a point where the league doesn't franchise or put a salary cap on the quarterback position, and we can just pay the quarterback what we think the quarterback deserves.
So, John Jay, who do you think might move up to the first? Who try to get up to the first?
Let's see. There's a lot of talks during the combine that Indianapolis is a team that's going to move up because the general manager said is that if we're going to bring in a quarterback, for our organization, we have to draft the right one. So if you're saying that you're thinking about drafting a quarterback, but you want the right one, you got to go up to number 1. And he said that we're going to evaluate what we're going to do. Now the Bears, I don't know what they're going to do at number 1, but for sure they want out of that spot, and their general manager says we're leaving that spot. We're not drafting number 1. If we do draft number 1, it's going to be for another team's pick. So say, like hypothetically, say someone has the number 5th pick, and they're like, all right, we don't have the details yet. Draft this player for us, then we'll get the player that you want, and they'll do a swap because they do not want that pick. They do not want that pick. But Indianapolis right now is a team that's been rumored, has been linked. And when you say you want your quarterback, the right quarterback, you got to go number 1 so you can look at all the quarterbacks. And there's only 3 quarterbacks that are going in the top 10. Of course, Bryce Young, Stroud, and that Florida kid that just continues to move up the draft board, which I really like. He's a really good quarterback. So we'll see what happens.
When are
That's opposite of what we did.
When are people going to stop drafting Ohio State quarterbacks? When have they ever done anything? It's like every year. Yeah. Oh, Jay Steele, what's up?
What's up?
Glad to have you back. I was like, oh, he left. I was very.
Jay over here, he's breaking it down.
Where are we going? What were we talking about? Am I a little too baked? I'm hungry.
Yeah, we've been going pretty solid. It's been a good show.
What's up?
Yeah, might have to wrap it up here pretty soon.
Phone died. Charge the phone, duh.
Oh, anytime calling in, these things will kill a phone battery, so it's best to just have your stuff plugged in.
But I was listening to John Jay. John Jay was breaking it down. Oh,
Thank you.
So what I want to know is like, you guys are worried about, all right, the first, I didn't want to get into, actually it died out, but I don't know who's going for the first pick, the second pick. I'm not really worried about that because as a 49ers fan, we're not doing any of that. I think at
I want to
best,
know.
well, we might trade a couple of thirds, right? We got a couple of thirds. We talked about that to go somewhere a little bit, but I don't know. I really could see them just drafting everybody what they can. They can't draft everybody and pay everybody. I understand that, but they're going to do what they can to get that depth. And I don't know how much we're going to trade up. We're not going to go get Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to get Derek Carr. We're not going to do all this stuff. We're going to stick with our people. We're going to stick with our depth. That's what we do. But before I got cut off, what I did want to talk about was that's what we do. We get depth, right? Every year. That's what we do. We go and look, I'm looking forward to Drake Jackson. I'm hoping he can be that edge, that inside, whatever we want to do. I hope we can do that. And we get depth. But what I'm concerned about, and we were kind of talking about, and you guys got into it afterwards, is, and it kind of goes along that, like, buy a team now, right? But oppositely, I think a lot of times what we do is we get a lot of talent. We get a lot of talent. We have them for a year or two. We get there. Maybe that's the championship, playoffs, whatever you want to call it. But then they price out. And I understand that we got depth and we keep going back, but where is there a point to where it's like, okay, we get these guys and we develop them because that's what we do. We're good at that. We're really good at that through all O-line, D-line, secondary. We get coaches. We develop people. We make the most out of them. But then 2 or 3 years later, they're priced out of our range and we're like, all right, well, that's okay. We got depth and we'll go to the next guy, right? And the next guy is fine. And then that's where I talk about where, like, we stay competitive. We're always in there because we get good depth. But where's the point to where it's like we just keep getting people, we develop them, and then we, quote unquote, we just sell them off to other people, and then we start all over again. And yeah, we're good, but we're not where we had them at that, 6-year contract, 5th-year extension, whatever it might be, and actually do something. See, that's what I'm concerned about as a fan is like we're just kind of randomly just over and over. We're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. And I love that. I'd rather be relevant and be able to talk a little ish to 29 other teams out there, or whatever. But when does it become a point to where we develop people and we sell them off? Develop people, sell them off. Luckily, E-Man, he's coming back, right? Gibson, he's retiring. And so that's not a thing. But these, a lot of the McGlinchey, there you go. McGlinchey. I don't think there's anybody probably out there, as much as we hate to talk shit about McGlinchey, it's late night, right? I can say that, to where we're going to get anybody else that's as good. Maybe we can develop somebody in a year or two, and then that's what happens, though. And then that person might be out, I don't know. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? To where it's just like we keep developing people, and then we keep selling them. We're almost there. We keep 1 or 2, but ultimately, are we just going to become a farm league team? Like, see, that's what people do. Like Kyle Shanahan, it's so awesome. He develops people, and they become, or the defensive coordinator, or whoever, and all our coaches go. See, are we becoming a farm league for coaches and players? Let me ask that. That's what it is.
Well, so basically you're saying you don't want the Green Bay Packers, which are always good and hardly win anything. But we have a state tax too, and everybody's always like, well, if they take a friendly deal, they take a friendly deal. It's like, if it was your money and you were asked to take a pay cut, would you do it? We should get comp picks for the state tax.
Right. And I was talking about that earlier. I was like, I get all this like hometown free, like I'll give you maybe if you're on the back end or maybe new where you're like, hey, I'm trying to stay with a decent team and I'll take a little less, or like I'm about to retire and I don't want to move because my family's been here for 8 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I get that, but it's like I feel like we're becoming a farm league. Like take our coaches, take our players, we kind of get there. Kyle Shanahan's awesome, the guru or whatever, but he's not or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just like I'm kind of getting, and that's why I got in the conversation earlier about do we just buy a team? Say, screw it. Let's just buy everybody. Chauncey got, Chauncey, let's go get too bad Payne got,
I don't think this is the year I don't think this is the year to buy one. Like as far as free agents being in the market, like I don't think this is the year where there's like enough guys. Like last year would have been a great year, I think, to do it.
I see. I maybe because maybe is this the time to buy somebody because there's nobody. Look, okay, I don't know how right this is, but I listened to some of it with the combine, and they're like 49ers scouting are talking about. We only got so many in the first round. It's not that good. You know what I mean? And so we're kind of, it's good that we got these lower picks and there's a bunch of D and a bunch of DTs and a bunch of defensive ends and a bunch of
linebackers, tackles.
Like, oh, we're straight. We're straight. Don't worry about it. But that's the thing. Again, are we just trying to be like, all right, we're going to build into this. We're going to I'm looking Kalia Davis. We have depth. Right? Jordan Mason. I saw it in your chat earlier. Jordan, get that. He's a dog. He will blow somebody's ass. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to say pause now on that. So but the thing is like, we have the depth. But is that what we're going to keep doing? Is just buying depth, getting coaches, people. And that's what I feel like we've been since 2019. Since Shanahan got it together a couple years later, I'm not talking about Garoppolo, but just in general. Like if you think about it, that's all it's been. McDaniels, Saleh, you know what I mean? And I'm happy for that. I'm glad that happens. Because that means something. That means we develop people. We have the right coaches. We do some things. But ultimately, is that what we're becoming? Is kind of like the staple of the NFL, but we really don't do anything?
Yes. And the reason it's yes is if you go back to the Bill Walsh era, the salary cap, and I'm going to always say that, it's really crippled this team. And since the salary caps come out, what we were able to do in the past is we were able to develop players. And then before their prime came, we traded them off or we let them go. And we got somebody else because we could go and pay either a premium amount for another player or we felt good enough about who we drafted. And they were long enough for us to feel good about them and move off of somebody like, a Ronnie Lott or somebody like a Jerry Rice. That's not necessarily the best decision. And as somebody who's a fan and who wants to buy that jersey, we don't want to see our favorite guy going somewhere else. But that has been the Niner way. And with the Niner way, we have so many great coaches who went on to go to different coaches, trees. We have coaches trees. And now Shanahan is that coach, and now he has so many people underneath his coaching tree. So, yes, it's sad that we become a farm team.
Legacy?
It is.
But is that legacy, not the team? That's what, and I agree. We got so many connections, McDaniels, D'Amico, like we're doing the damn thing. But also at the same time, is that his legacy to where in the end he can say, oh, this is that tree. This is that. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not on that Shanahan shit talking. We can do that right late at night still to where it's like,
but like,
he's become that to where it's like, we're getting round picks because we got, this coach that got traded over here. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? Like, is that what it becomes though? Kind of just like like he's running his own scheme and system in the damn NFL too. You know what I mean? Like, not to go on that, but it's kind of like, does your scheme get quarterbacks hurt? That kind of shit. You know what I mean? Are you running your scheme on like this is where it just kind of like you're doing your thing and that's good enough? Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Well, all I was gonna say is that like it really does tie back into like the Bill Walsh, because Bill Walsh had his dad on the team. Like Mike Shanahan was Niner coach. And then he left us and went to the Broncos and won a Super Bowl. So I mean, it really does. There's a lot of parallels to what you said, and sure, like you got Mike Holmgren, he went to Green Bay, right? Steve Mariucci, so like you can still keep piecing it together. It's really interesting. So now we have Shanahan, and he's a young guy, and like you just said, he's injured quarterback. Is that him? Is that his play calling, or is that just bad luck? We don't know, but we've seen him injure several quarterbacks, for the Niners, and Manziel, RG3. I mean, it's getting bad. So I mean, at a certain point, somebody's either got to help him, or we gotta just eat it and just look at these players as they're not players. They're just weapons. Don't buy their jersey if you don't care, to lose money. And that's maybe what we have to start looking at. We can't tell Kyle to stop. He's not gonna listen to us.
Well, of course not. Who the hell are we? I understand that. I mean, I guess the conversation is just about to where, and I'm not on that kind of conspiracy. Shanahan, he's on his own ego, and it's like I don't need you guys. Probably, I know you've heard, where it's like the quarterback can be average. You know what I mean? Because my scheme is running shit, and the people are open. Yeah, you're open because I scheme that shit. You know what I mean? But in all actuality, yeah. I mean, kind of, but to where the ego trip and where people are like, oh, we haven't won it yet, so fire him, or maybe he should be an OC. I mean, I don't see, I don't even know what world he's going to be like, yeah, I'll step down and do that. But I get what people are saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people maybe say that because of, let's just take, for instance, the championship game to where, that fourth down, God, we hate to relive it. The fourth down where it was the pass and he didn't catch it. I'm not going to get into I'm not trying to get details. We know what we're talking about. Where he should have threw the flag, you know what I'm saying? Or at least called a timeout, you know what I mean? Just to set the, defense. Everybody's running up and it's acting crazy and dude stomping his fist together, being like, okay. But maybe that did happen because he was looking down at his playlist and he's looking, his call sheet, and he's looking at whatever and he's looking at the next play.
I think somebody needs to take over the play calling and let him be the head coach. He can still scheme up the plays. He can still tell him, hey, when the linebacker does this, then you call this. You know what I mean? Like that could still be going. You do this, but I think there's times where he needs to be walking around and monitoring everything on the team and have somebody else with their head in the game there and just come over and go, hey, I think we need to run blah, blah, blah right now because they're doing this. And them go, okay, because he's the head coach. That's all he has to do.
Yeah, and maybe give Kyle like, 3 plays. Be like, hey, A, B, or C, what do you think we should do here? Maybe don't do every play. But when you should be getting prepared. Kyle shouldn't have been looking at the play sheet on that fourth down. He'd been looking at the field. Somebody else should have been like looking at him saying, okay, we can run this option, Kyle, this option.
Hang on. Listen, to give him credit because he is doing all that, and it looked like we all thought only people that were watching it on regular TV saw, and then it came back after the commercial, you know what I mean? Or kind of whatever. So I keep that, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, because even his booth people, see, they get into that. Where was your booth people at? Somebody. But it was so close. And see, that's the thing. I'm actually not even trying to be on this one particular thing.
Hufunga knew.
Relive it. But it's kind of like for future. And also understand, like, right, because he looked right down at his play sheet. He thought it was caught. Everybody thought it was caught. You know what I mean? For a half second, he's ready to move the hell on. He's trying to do the damn thing, and I get that. So it is to where it's.
But you know who else I think? blame is the referees. You know, usually you
Sure.
know if you see the other team rush the ball,
No,
you like something wrong here. Referee say something wrong here. Let us
You
take a
can't.
look at this.
But it's not the ref's fault just because player was running, knocking his fist together, her in the play. It's
Yep.
not on the ref to be like, hang on, something's
In
weird
fact,
there.
that would be tipping the scales in
Right.
somebody's benefit. Maybe you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it until after you go back and review tape. You know what I mean? But it would be like that's not something you do, and unless there's something like, unless they come with a rule saying that the ref on the field, if he has any question about something, can then go refer to New York, which is something I think they're going to do, something
Yeah.
along those lines with certain plays.
Oh, they did it during the
Especially
Super Bowl, didn't they?
during this one, they're already going to put in a thing where it, like college, if they come up quick score and somebody needs to look at it, they will hold the ball and stop. But that
gotta
They
blame
do it like
Hufanga because, like,
the referee stops and do it after 2 minutes.
I want to
This is
hear what
past
they're
2
talking
minutes.
about in New York. I want to see what they're looking at. I want to know what they're talking about. That's what I want to know. I love how the XFL did that.
Hey, Ryan.
What's up?
You want to give
Yeah.
everybody their final thoughts real quick before we bolt out?
Yeah, you're right. Corey, you got anything going on this week?
Well, tomorrow I'm planning on doing a show. And I'm gonna be asking this question: do you think Kyle can ever win the big game?
Okay.
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Can
We'll
he
have
get-
to show up to answer that.
Yeah, everybody show up tomorrow. What time is your show?
Usually I might do like 7 p.m.
Okay. You guys heard it first. 7 o'clock. Corey Davis'
7 in the
channel.
morning,
Night.
Yeah.
Huh?
p.m.,
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
No.
Yep.
7
7
p.m.
a.m.
PM.
Jay Steele, is there anything you want to leave us with?
No, just bang, bang, Niner gang. We're going to do it.
Bang.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got to, ultimately, I think we just got to have faith and keep going on. Like, whatever, if it's Trey Lance, if it's Brock Purdy, just have faith in our people and root. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. It's a good time. It's understandable that we get all kind of impatient and up in arms about everything. But ultimately, it's really about the fun, the camaraderie, doing this right here, talking about it, community. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I just appreciate what you guys are doing. Let me say that. And like I said, this was my first time ever doing this. And I appreciate you letting me come on and jab it up with you guys for a little while and talk nonsense, even back to electric cars and whatever else is going on.
We'll
It's
be
Friday
here next
night,
week.
man. Off season.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Jay.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
me too.
Love you.
John, do you
Peace.
have anything you want to say? Anything you wanna
Just like
shout out?
always, thank you very much for having me on. You know, it's always an honor talking 49ers football with the great 49er faithfuls. I've been fortunate to live in the Bay Area in San Francisco, but one thing that I've learned, the faithful, they're everywhere. So thanks for having me on, man.
Steve-O,
John,
what you got
thanks for
going
coming
on?
on, man.
I just, JG Wentworth, it's my money and I want it now. I want my quarterback now. No, I'll
There you
just be
go.
on tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow, just get my fish pull out, trolling in the chat,
There you go.
Yeah. Love it, man. All right, guys. Thanks for having on, Brian, Corey, John Jay, Steve-O, Jay. Everybody, you guys are great. I really appreciate it. And even to all those weird bondage and Boglafa guy, hey, we love you too.
Hey, when's your next show, Bryant?
I'm going to try to do a show tomorrow morning. Bring your coffee and call on
What
in
time?
if you guys got something to talk about. I'm going to try to do it at 8:30, 9, somewhere in, so we can enjoy coffee.
Okay.
I'll probably have broken my tablet by then.
Hey, that's all right, Steve. I know you'll be there.
And I want to thank everybody who joined in tonight to watch us. Nathan Z, Jess from East Coast Red Gold Podcast, YTC stopped in for a second. We had Bashar, 49er Minded. Also want to thank Beto from 49er Sickness for stopping in and being on the panel also as well. Who else? Just don't want to miss anybody. I think that's it. And with that,